Human evolution and the beginning of civilization, the very first chapter from your history book. And after a lot of demands, ma'am, can you please re-record the lecture according to the new NCERT? Here we are reading NCERT line by line for this chapter. Class 9 student, basically we have completed once the one shot of all the chapters uploaded on the channel, but I know that the new NCERTs are revised and it is added with lot of content which you require actually the help in. So here I bought this particular series NCERT line by line. We will be reading every word of NCERT beta and you will be highlighting along with me, because one major difficulty that student usually faces, ma'am, what are the keywords, what to highlight, what are we missing, right? So in this session it will be a complete package where you need to not worry about your chapter and not even worry about entire SST in your class 9. Welcome on the platform Diksha Vedantu, and I am your SST faculty Tanvi Ma'am. Human evolution and the beginning of civilization, exactly as it is, that is in the new NCERT. First task that you have to do, pausing this video, because I know you randomly just clicked this video and started listening to me. No, we are not going to follow this again, or we are not going to continue this again. Take out your NCERT, sit on your study table, take a pen, take a pencil, as well as the copy in which you will be writing your notes, because this, right, the future, whatever it can be 2 hours, it can be 3 hours. This is going to be a game changer for you, because we are going to cover this chapter entirely, thoroughly, while marking the NCERT as well as what, making the notes too. Okay, so I hope that you are ready for that. Please do this while watching this video. This is the task that I am giving to you right now, and you have to follow it anyhow. Chalo, so let's start the session first with what we are going to study and how we are going to study. First I will tell you how we are going to study in this entire entire video. First of all, it is the task to read the NCERT. Okay, NCERT. By reading the NCERT, I will be explaining you all the topics in the most easiest way possible, as I usually try to do that, right? The second task what we will do is to underline the keywords. Okay, this is the agenda of the day, to underline the what? Underline the key lines I was about to write. So underline the keywords, fine. For underlining keywords, I want a pencil in your hand. Third one is we will write all the important points. So as I will be writing, you will be writing as it is in your notes. So what, beta? We will be writing important points that are going to be your notes. That is going to be your what, bacha? Notes. Okay, so take out a copy as well as a pen for doing this task. The next important thing is very, very important. I will write some questions during the time I am teaching, that the questions can come in that format. Beta, you have to write those questions as practice questions in your copy, right? As practice questions in your copy once we complete this chapter. Once we complete this chapter entirely, very nicely, with deep understanding, you will be practicing those questions, right? I will not leave you without solving the NCERT questions, because beta, I know that once you are done with the chapter, you do not practice the NCERT questions seriously. Rather, you wander here and there for the reference book and many books that are available in the market. Right? So this is the task of how to study. This is the task of what? How we are going to study in this session, right? So to the students who are like ready to follow that, please be a part of the session. Next one is what to study. Now, so the heading of the chapter is beta, human evolution, right? Human evolution and beginning of civilization. Human evolution and beginning of civilization, what it actually talks about. Let me tell you, beta, when you were in, like you are in class 9th right now, but the students who studied class 9th till previous year, that is academic session 25-26, read all together the different chapters that you are studying right now. All together different they were. So there were French Revolution, Russian Revolution, Nazism, etc., etc. You know, irony, I'll tell you one thing. After last year, students were telling me, ma'am, why are we reading the history of other countries? Why are we reading about Russia, Nazism, and why not about India? Okay, fine. This was the major problem of the students. Now, CBSE reframed it. NCERT bought you what? Indianized version of history. You know, this is becoming more difficult and more complicated, but the details are given very deeply this time, right? The details are given very deeply. You will talk about human evolution and beginning of civilization since when? Since the time like around 1.5 to 2 million years back, when we got the evidences of, right, where we got the evidence of what beta, the presence of humans, right? We got the archaeological evidences, and basically from here, right, from here to the time of around 3500 BC, this was the period which we called as Stone Age, which we called as what? Stone Age. Right? After this, somewhere we have found the certain evidences of first copper, and hence there was copper civilization, or I won't call it as civilization, it was age. Then later we found the evidence of bronze. Copper mixed with tin led to the formation of bronze. Bronze civilization started, and that was the first civilization, some around 2500 BC, which we call as Indus Valley civilization, or according to the new book, Sindhu Saraswati civilization. What? Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Ma'am, will the chapter talk about everything? Yes. Along with that, let me tell you that it was present around 1750 BC that we found the evidence from 2500 to 1750, where there was active evidence of Indus Valley civilization. Right? The chapter will stop here, because after that the chapter will talk about what beta? The civilizations, right? The civilization of the world. So Indus Valley civilization, what not the one civilization, rather there were certain contemporary civilizations in the world, like there was Mesopotamian civilization, right? Mesopotamian civilization, there was Egyptian civilization, there was Chinese civilization. So bhai, what are these, ma'am? What are you telling that? But everything you will get in this chapter. You will get in this chapter. You know, the history does not end here. This is the time when small kingdoms will start, and that will be in your second chapter, that is state and society. That will be in your second chapter, that is state and society. So right from the beginning of the presence of humans, we will study towards Indus Valley civilization, or that is Sindhu Sabhyata civilization. This is the agenda of the chapter. This is what you are going to study with me in this chapter. Are you ready? Okay. So here is the first page of NCERT. Arey ma'am, straight from NCERT, you did not make any notes or PDF. Beta, I will make, like you are going to make along with me. Getting my point? So we will make the notes together. You will make the notes with me. The chapter starts with 4 big questions. So this is something newly added in the NCERT by NCERT, that the chapter starts with big questions. Oh wait, I was about to fall. So this does not mean, oh my god, I need to be cautious. So this does not means that beta, that the 4 questions are going to directly come in your exam, or only the questions that are going to come in your exam. But it means that the chapter revolves on these 4 questions. What are they? First is, how did human live on earth before the beginning of civilization? Beta, here what you have to understand is, see, whenever I start teaching you anything in social studies, first thing what we do is to decode the chapter. Right? Decode the chapter. In this chapter, there is a heading that is known as human evolution. Human what beta? Evolution. So what is evolution? We are always being told that our ancestors were monkey. Actually, we are all what we can say, our ancestors were ape, right? From that, we evolved one by one, species after species, to what we have become today. So this is very easy human evolution. You are learning this in science also. And then it talks about a word that is beginning of, right? Beginning of what beta? Beginning of civilization. See, when we talk about our human ancestors, do you feel that they were civilized? No, because they came from what? They came from monkey. They came from an animal, and hence their behavior was depending upon them. But eventually what happened? They become civilized. And what do I mean by civilization is beta, that they have a settled life. They have a settled life. Now they are no longer wanderers. What do you mean by wanderers? Like moving from one place to another. But now what they have become, they have started living a settled life. In this settled life, they have learned how to do agriculture. That means they are growing the crops. They learned what? How to grow the crops. By when they sow the crops, they will be waiting for its harvesting and will station there. When they are growing the crops, they need a pot to keep the grains in it. Yes, so they knew pottery. You know that they made planning. Yes, there was a planned, what we can say, lifestyle, planned city, right? Drainage system was there, houses were built, and this is what is known as civilized, or what we can say, civilization. You know that the Indus Valley civilization was the first urbanization in India. This is what we will study in the chapter. So, decoded the heading, 4 big questions done. What does this first paragraph of the NCERT say, beta? In previous grade, we have studied the history of various kingdoms and empires. Yes, agreed. In class 6, we studied ancient history. In class 7, we studied medieval history. Class 8, we studied about East India Company and the British Empire. Yes, so majorly in class 6th and 7th, we actually learned about how Indian history was, right? However, the history of humanity goes back much further. In this chapter, we will explore who our earliest ancestors were, when and where they evolved, what kind of food they ate, how they lived, and how they become what we are today. Getting my point? So, beta, when we are learning history, now let me tell you one thing, right? When we are ever learning history, one question comes in our mind: how actually you know about that? The books are telling you that the humans evolved like this. The books are telling you the people of Indus Valley civilization were behaving like this. But your question should be, how do you know about this? How are you telling that? How are you writing that? So basically, beta, let me tell you that for the studies of history, right, or for the knowledge of history, how do we get know about history? Is through the sources of history. What, beta? Sources of history. There are 2 types of sources of history. One is archaeological source, right? One is archaeological source, and the other one is literary source. What it is? Literary source. By what is this, ma'am? Beta, this is something you studied in class 6th, if you remember. Right? What is archaeological source, beta? Anything, right? Anything that you find, right? Anything that you find buried, okay, under the layers of the earth, right? For example, there was a place you started digging up, and then you find some ancient stones below it, right? Or what we can say, temples below it, right? Right now, we can say certain historical buildings as well. Otherwise, we have sculptures, right? Right, the Nataraj Murti. Every time we go to a dance academy, you will see a figure, Nataraj figure dancing Shiva. That was found from South India, Chola dynasty. Right? We have coins, we have tools that were used by ancestors, etc., etc. All the things that we find archaeologically. Along with that, there is one major thing, that is fossils, the remains of plants and animals of that time, right? Which we studied with the help of different scientific technologies that we have developed so far. Okay, so beta, you got to know about the history or the chapter we are going to study today through the archaeological sources, and the Second one is literary sources. Literary sources here mean all the written records. All the written records are known as beta literary sources. Now one more question, ma'am. Did the early humans were knowing about writing? They knew about writing? No beta, they did not know. So we will discuss that too. So beta, however, written records are records like manuscript, okay, anything that was written from hand. However, at the time paper was not there, and hence people used to write on palm leaves, birch of the tree. Along with that, we have certain inscriptions. Inscriptions mean anything that is written on the hard surface, engraved on the hard surface. You might be visiting all those historical sites, and when you enter at the gate, what you see outside the gate? Those blocks in which detail of that place is written. What is that? Inscriptions, right? When you go and see the temples of India, you will see on the pillars something is written, right? Those are what? Inscriptions. And after that, various written records have been found. Now come to the question, ma'am. But in history, we do not find the evidence of what? Written records since the time humans were monkeys. Obviously not. And hence, for that, we have divided history into how many parts? 3 parts. The first one here is known as beta prehistory. Okay, the first one here is known as what? Prehistory. The second one is known as proto-history. The second one is known as what beta? Proto-history. And the third one actually is history. Now you might be thinking, ma'am, is it given in the book? But no, I am your SST teacher, and I want to make sure that every student of mine have an in-depth knowledge of everything. You are studying something, their content being given, but I want you to get the picture clear before starting the chapter. So the picture here is beta, the time, right? The time in which we used archaeological sources to clear our history. We only have archaeological sources because at that time people do not communicate using the language, and hence no literary sources found from that time is actually considered to be as prehistory. What it is considered to be as is prehistory. Let's move towards proto-history now. Now, what is proto-history period, beta? The period where we found the archaeological sources. Very good, yaar. Where even we found the literary sources. That means people now knew how to read and write. But what happens, irony is that, beta, we are not able to decipher the script of this people. That means we are not able to read what they have written. Right? And yes, we are struggling to decipher the script of Sindhu Saraswati civilization up till now. There is no historian who could analyze what is written because it was a pictographic script and something written which is not of our daily use. Getting my point? That period is considered to be as bacha what? Proto-history. And now comes the third part, that is history. Actually, where we got to know about the archaeological sources, we got to know about the literary sources, and yes, they are deciphered. And yes, they are deciphered. If you are wondering, ma'am, you're writing so much, right? We are not able to cope up with the speed as we are watching the videos and all, and we need your notes, your handwritten notes, then yes, I have a place for that. And what is that? This is the AIU, all-in-one page for you, beta. It is actually made for you by Vedantu. So this is the page for CBSE class 9th, as you can see over here. Right? Now, what is different from YouTube to here? Basically, first of all, beta, in the YouTube, we are not able to give you a plan for the upcoming lectures. But here you will get a schedule. What are those upcoming videos? See, classes by the class teachers, yes. Live classes by the class teachers, in doubt class solving. There are a lot of times when the videos are recorded on YouTube, you do not get the answer by the teachers. Actually, you're waiting for the comments so that the teacher will reply, and all the time we are not able to reply on all the videos. And hence here is in class doubt solving. You will ask the doubt and you will get the answer. Okay? You will have other thing also like the digital study material. Why I bought you up here in mid of the teaching? Because I wanted, beta, whatever we are writing there now, you can get it, you can access it for free. How? You have to just buy this course, and this course cost you so much, a lot, na? 0 rupees. When you do that, you will get the access of this course and your course names with the teacher Tanvi Ma'am for your SST, Sonu Sir for maths, and Aditi Ma'am for science. Because of all, I believe that because of these 3 people you're watching me right now. So you can continue here. See, this will the look of your course basically. Right? Along with the courses, beta, what you have to focus is assignment. Like as I am teaching you right now the chapter that is early human and the beginning of civilization. When we are done with this chapter, when we have learned it thoroughly, now it is the high time we need to test ourselves. I will be providing you assignment here on this platform, that is AIO. Right? So CBSE class 9, for example, this is SST, and your chapters will look like this. Your chapters will look like this. I have started asking them to upload everything, assignments as well as other content which is not available right now. But yes, we are working on that. Very soon you will get it. All the test, my test, see, this is how your test will look like. So whenever you will give your test, everything will come here. Your marks, your analysis will come here. Batch info is there. Community, yes, we have started the community on WhatsApp also. So this community is also started where, bacha, in WhatsApp channel 24/7 doubt solving sessions can be there. Getting my point? Okay, chalo, come on, fast you grab it. Let me come back to my chapter, which is very important right now. So you can guys take these notes. I will be uploading the session PDFs on that AIO only, right? So you can avail it with the help of AIO. How to do that? I just told you how to get that through that page. The link is given in the description box. Okay, so now coming towards the chapter, beta, so we will learn all about them in detail. Right? This chapter is actually about history, prehistory, proto-history, when we got to know about the archaeological sources, but somewhere literary sources were not there. There was a time when we knew about literary sources, but we could not decipher it. And then the time when we actually know about everything. Like, for example, let me tell you, beta, early writings. The first time, right? The first time we got the script in India was the Harappan script in the Harappan civilization. But, beta, unfortunately, we are not able to decipher it. It has not been deciphered. However, it marked the beginning of what? The writing period in India. Similarly, we got the information of writing in Mesopotamian civilization. In Mesopotamian civilization, and the script written by Sumerians in the Mesopotamia was known as cuneiform script. What it is known as? Cuneiform script. Like I am writing in the margin, you also write in the margin of your NCERT. Right? Cuneiform script that was written by Sumerians of Mesopotamia. How this script look like and what was this script, we will tell you in the chapter itself. Right? Like this is one of the signboard. Right? Beta, this is the signboard that we find from the site of Harappan civilization, but can't understand what they have written. You know that I believe that if someday someone find out what it is written, now I believe that the history is going to be changed entirely. Right? Because up till now what we have analyzed is actually the history. What we understood via the ecological resources is the history of IVC, Indus Valley Civilization. It can change a little after deciphering the script. Okay? However, from around 400 BCE, a script known as Brahmi script came to be noticed. Beta, most popularly, this was found in the Ganga Valley, yes, the northern part of India, right, where this time Mauryan Empire was ruling. Which was ruling, bacha? Mauryan Empire was ruling, and it was the king Ashoka during the Mauryan Empire who popularized the writing. How? Because he was the person who actually laid inscriptions throughout the routes in India. Again, inscription, something written on the hard surface. All the instructions were written on its inscriptions only. Acha, one more thing that I want to tell you here is, so 400 BCE, from here word come, that is BCE. But I know this is something very basic and lot of students might know that. Lot of you might know that, but still I don't want any of the student to go from this lecture that ma'am, I was not aware about that word. Beta, when we study history na, so it was Greek people. Who is the father of history? Basically, who is the father of history? Again, a good question. Okay, so Herodotus is the father of history, beta. Who is the father of history? Herodotus is the father of history, and he was a Greek person. So Greek were the people who actually started studying history. The basis will be taken as of that, right? So we consider 0 year. ठीक है, see भाई, from where to study history now it is a question. Which year is considered to as 0 year? Right now it is 2020. Okay, 2026. अरे यार, I am living in 2020. When I thought about which year is running, I thought about 2020 and I'm like, okay, it's far behind. So yes, we are in 2026, beta, but there might be a time when there was a 1 year. So when was that 1 year? Historians struggled a lot to decide that, obviously. So hence they decided that that will be the 0 year, which is considered to be as birth of Christ, Jesus Christ here we are talking about. So before the Christ, the period was referred as BC, before Christ, and after the Christ, the period was referred as AD, that's Anno Domini. Again, there were a lot of problem related to the terminology of Christ as well as Anno Domini. Hence, it is now referred as BCE, that is before Common Era. Pay attention to that, what BCE is here. Beta, it is before Common Era. Right? Remember this whenever BCE and all that comes. And AD, now it is referred as CE. ठीक है, what it is referred as CE. Here CE stands for Common Era. Here CE stands for Common Era. Just basic things I wanted to make you sure that you are clear about, right? So yes, this is about it. Now come the very important part of history. Was the history similar when we found the writing? No. Was this history similar when we did not find the writing? No, beta. It is very difficult to analyze the history of India without the writing, because it is solely depending upon the archaeological sources. And here hence comes the question, right? What is the question? Write the difference. Right? The difference between what? Difference between before invention of writing, before what? Invention of writing, as well as after invention of writing, and after invention of writing. As I told you in the starting, I will be giving you lot of questions to practice. This is one of that. ठीक है? How we have to figure out, beta? See, again, now there was a time in the human history when humans were not able to write anything. ठीक है? And that time is actually 99% of human history. Think about that. 99% of human history. How, ma'am? Beta, because it was 3 million years ago, right? 3 million years ago on Earth, where we found the evidence of human presence, right? But does that mean that they were the actual Homo sapiens as we are? No, right? They were not actually the Homo sapien. They evolved. Right? And their evolution took up to 3 million years ago to 5,000, right, years ago, when they were not actually aware about what, beta? Writing. And hence the 99% of the human history was a time when humans were not aware about writing. Then what happened? So after the history, it is just 1% of the human history that falls under it, and it is the time after 5,000 years ago. First difference done, 1 mark scored, very good. Now coming towards then, how did we reconstructed the history before the invention of writing? Again a good question. So beta, we reconstructed it with the help of tools, implements, other material objects, right? The material that were made by humans actually at that time, as well as the fossils. These were our main source of reconstructing the history or the past. Okay, next is, during the time there was writing, actually both of them helped, like archaeological sources also, as well as written documents also. Now coming towards the third difference, how was the life of people before invention as well as after invention? But it is very, very difficult to understand the time before invention because nothing is written. We don't know their thought process, what they were thinking actually, what they were speaking actually, what they were feeling actually. We don't know because we were not there. If we would be there, then also this is our afterlife of I don't know how many times, right? But when literature came into being, when writing came into being, people started writing about their thoughts, about what is going in the society, what about the kingdom, etc., etc. And hence, here we got to know about the information of the name of the kings, the events that happened, the social, political, cultural, economic, religious life of that time. So here is the third difference of the answer. Last but not the least, that is measurement of time. Right? There was a time when a Harshvardhan ruler was ruling, and this ruler did what? This ruler issued a coin and wrote the timeline over that. But now what happened? This was a time when people were not knowing about the writings. Beta, so we are having the dates that is approximate. We are not sure about those dates. After writing, we are having accurate dates of their coronation, the king, the war, etc. Getting the difference? So here is a question for how many marks? 3 marks. Okay, we'll give you how many points you have to write, beta? 3 points. In the book there are 4 points. You can learn all the 4 for your safety. No risk. What happens if you forget one? Usually happens to you. Great. So this is a question. Write the difference between before the invention of writing as well as the after the invention of writing. Done. Why should we study early human history? Great question. Why are we studying history? All the time. By being an SST teacher, I have faced it a lot of times. Ma'am, why do we study history? Ma'am, why is there need to study about the people who was like in the war at that time? They were fighting for which reason? What is that? What is that? They are buried under the ground and we are studying about that. Beta, a lot of reasons which actually help us when we study history. Okay? The first thing you might have heard all the time when someone asks you the question, why do we study history? You said that, ma'am, so that we don't repeat the mistakes we did in the past. This is actually something you learn. But it is more than that. It is actually more than that. I agree. It is not, it is something, it is a subject we study not to repeat the mistakes we did. Like to repeat the mistakes when we become the colony of British Empire. Not to repeat the mistake when we participated in First World War, then Second World War. But it is lot more than that, right? The study of early human beings understand the long process of humankind. It is not only history, it is biological and cultural development. In relation to the changes in the climate and environment, beta, everything is linked. How did humans adapted to the surroundings? Like it is well said that, right? It is well said with the help of a scientific discovery that there is the survival of the fittest one. Who get fit in the climate actually survives. It happens lot of time. Like for example, we are running a company. Okay, we are running a company and we appointed 100 employees. We appointed 100 employees, but we know that a lot of them will move to another company, will not be able to hold the workload of that company, or will find that they are unfit for the positions and will move to another company. Does it happen? Why? Because they could not fit into the like what we can say, climate or atmosphere of that company. It happens similarly, beta, in the environment. Right? The one who get evolved with the changing climate, the one who get changed with the time, like everyone is saying that people will lose their job after AI comes. No, I don't believe that. Rather, the one who will not develop as per the requirement of AI will actually lose it. So you should know what, beta, the evolution comes with the change in climate as well as the environment. And yes, the humans started adapting it, and that is what happened. The evolution happened. That is why we are studying history. It tells us about the environmental condition, the human development tools, the techniques, the other form of technology, etc., etc. Getting my point? Right? But now we will learn about a lot of things, evolution of humans, right? I'm not teaching you since starting here because this page contains something which is very important, right? But it is believed that, right? It is believed that Africa, right? Africa continent is actually the cradle of humankind. The cradle of humankind. Acha, what do you mean by cradle, palna in Hindi? Cradle is actually from where a person begins the life. Similarly, it is believed that this continent of Africa for long period of time was only place where human used to live. Yes. You know that from that 99% of the period in which we don't know about the writing, the 80% of the time humans were just living in this continent Africa, and then they started moving towards other parts of Asia and Europe. The other parts of Asia and Europe. And you know that who were those people? It was around 2 million years back. Okay, it was around 2 million years ago that humans started moving from Africa towards other continent, and that human was Homo erectus. Homo what? Erectus. Erect, you know, erect, see, up till now what was the situation? That they were standing on 4 limbs. Pay attention. Our ancestors were monkey walking on the 4 limbs, right? Up till this, the situation was that, however, the Homo erectus were the first person who stood erected, not straight. Not straight. They were like some around 75 degree. So they stood erected, and these Homo erectus were the first human that moved out of this Africa. Right? And they were the early humans who made certain smart tools, stone tools. Tools made up of what, beta? Stones, such as hand axe, cleavers, and was the first hominin to exist Africa. Now, when I talk about stone tools, right, they were the first to make the stone tools. What are these tools made for? Why are they using these tools? Beta, when they are moving from one place to another, they need food to eat. They will hunt the animal and eat, obviously. They will cut the forest, right, to move to one place to another to find the way to move, right? They will also break some fruits to eat. So they need tools and implements. They need to save themselves from the wild animals. They will make the tools, and that is known as what? Stone tools. So Homo erectus was the first early human to move out of Africa and make the stone tools, hand axe and cleavers. They were the first hominin to exist Africa. Then after this, we have found these tools in Asia and Europe. So basically, 2 and 0.5 million years ago, this was the time frame where we found the existence of Homo erectus in other parts of what? World, including Asia as well as Europe. Beta, whatever I have marked in this, please mark it right now in your NCERT along with me. Learn with me. I am not teaching you. I am learning with you. So you have to learn with me, right? One more thing is these definitions which are given in the margins of NCERT. Homo erectus, an upright human who was walking bipedal. That means on 2 legs. First human who was walking on two legs. Then we have hominin. Beta, these are hominin word, homo, human-like. Actually, this is the first group of people who actually behaved like humans, like we do. Walking on two legs, eating like humans, right? Living like humans. So these are our early ancestors. Okay, next page, bye. Turn your page. Quick. And here we got a question. How do we know about ancestors? You actually know, right? When we talk about Stone Age, human ancestors, archaeology helped us a lot. Okay? What helped us a lot, beta? Archaeology. What is archaeology? Archaeology is the study of, okay? Study of all those. Pay attention to that. All those tools, temples, right? Fossils. Then we can say sculptures or stones. Fine. Then we can say seals or anything, coins, etc. Whatever we found inside the earth or inside the layer of earth, the study of that is known as what, beta? Archaeology. So how do we know about those early humans? We got to know about those early humans with the help of, like when we uncover those sites, that includes tools, bones, other objects that were left behind by our ancestors. And this is how we got to know about history. Okay, we got to know about our past, our ancestors. Not yet done, because who were our human ancestors? Kaun the? Who were the ancestors? Now question is this. You just told us about one thing, ma'am, that Homo erectus was one among the, what we can say, ancestor. But there might be someone before Homo erectus too. Yes, exactly. So beta, when we talk about the earliest human settlement, they were found at Africa, Asia and Europe. This world is actually referred as Old World. This world is actually referred as Old World. By the Old World, I am talking a period that is 3.3, right? 3.3 million years back, when we first found the evidence of human existence, and that too where, beta? Africa. That too where? Africa. After this, some around 2 million years back, right? Some around 2 million years back to 1.5 million years back, there was a time when this African man moved towards Europe plus Asia. Moved towards where, beta? Europe plus Asia. And how is this actually possible? This is only possible because of human evolution, because of the change in human behavior, because the earth is becoming warmer as the population is increasing, and when, according to the change of climate, when human adopt themselves, this is known as human evolution. This is known as what? Human evolution, right? But when we talk about this evolution of human, the earliest one, right? The earliest one were basically referred to us as Australopithecus. Australopithecus. Right? Australopithecus were not actually like humans. They were not actually like humans. Rather, they were the one who are our ancestors, whom we call as ape or monkey, right? Whom we call as ape or monkey, right? The first time we found out what? We found out the human-like behavior was Homo habilis. In was Homo habilis, right? But after Homo habilis came Homo erectus. Homo erectus, yes, exactly the one who moved out of Africa. And then the final one, which we, before the final one, basically they were Homo neanderthalensis. It is pronounced as Neanderthalensis. Okay, what it is pronounced as? Neander. Okay, whenever the words are long, divide it likewise, like Neanderthalensis, okay, Neanderthalensis, and at last the Homo sapiens, and the last is Homo sapiens, the human species living on the earth today. Getting my point? So now what is the difference between the same and how actually we got to know about them? We found out about them is basically with the help of fossils that recovered. Now what are fossils, beta? Fossils are the remains of, right? They are the remains of plants and animals. So yes, plants, animals and humans too. Okay? Beta, so from that time whenever we find any bone, we actually learned about the behavior, any skull, okay, any of their remain is considered to be as fossil, which help us to identify the evolution of humans. Helped us to identify what, my dear students? The evolution of the humans. Like Homo habilis lived in Olduvai George, Tanzania and Kenya, Africa wala region 2.6 million years ago, made chopper tools. Can you see the difference in their faces? The skull is becoming small, the brain is becoming bigger. ठीक है? Homo erectus lived in Eastern Africa, Rift Valley 2 million years back. Homo erectus. Then we talk about Homo neanderthalensis lived in Europe and Southwest Asia till about 40,000 years ago. So this person, from Homo erectus to this person, Homo neanderthalensis, we found it in Asia also. Right? So yes, then Homo sapiens which actually lived on the surroundings right now. Homo sapiens are the one which develops their what? Complex technologies. But each of them is identified with the help of the tools they made. With the help of the tools they made, like chopper to chop the skin of the animal so that they can feed their stomach. Right? Hand access to, like, maybe to move the soil, to move the land, easily possible to move it, to cut something for the sharp, right? This is it, beta. Early humans, history is divided into distinct period now. Beta, such a long history. See, 99% of the time of history, when we do not know about any literary sources, how can we say that, acha bhaiya, this is Mauryan dynasty, this is Gupta dynasty, they were ruling, that were ruling? No, because we can't identify, we don't have a timeline. So to understand it better, we analyze the type of tools they use, the shape of the tools they used, and we figure out that by, yes, there is a difference in their living style after one period and another, and hence we divided them into certain ages. We divided them into what, my dear student? Certain ages, which I will tell you right now. Okay, so see, it is something like a timeline. It is something like a what, bacha? Timeline. Pay attention to this. This is going to be very, very helpful for your understanding. Okay? So beta, this was the first time, it was 3 million years back. The first time, the 3 million years back, when we got to know about what? We got to know about the presence of humans, and that was in Africa. That was in Africa. But now, we can't go to Africa and study the history of India. Their continent and their country is doing. Right now, what I am telling you is about the Indian history. Okay? We are studying about what, beta? Indian history. So we divided Indian history on the basis of different type of stone tools that humans made. Which human made? That came to India. When they did came to India, beta, so they came to India some around 2 millions or 1.5 million year ago. 1.5 million years ago. Right? Since then, there is a time period going on that is referred as Stone Age. That is referred as Stone Age. Right? According to the tools they used, according to what, my dear students? The tools they use, the first Stone Age is referred as Paleolithic Age. Now, what it is referred as? Paleolithic Age. I will tell everything about this. Okay? Then the second one is referred as Mesolithic Age. What it is known as? Mesolithic Age. And the last one, that is Neolithic Age. What does this means? Now, complex bhai. Beta, here the word Paleolithic, the Paleo word stands for old, and the lithic word stands for stone. Hence, we can collectively call it as Old Stone Age. Don't get confused. Take it easy. Everything is easy, right? Mesolithic, bhai. Meso matlab middle, and lithic here again means stone. ठीक है? Neolithic, neo here stands for new, lithic here stands for stone. Old Stone Age, Middle Stone Age, New Stone Age. Old, that means their tools were very old. Meso matlab bhai transforming towards the new tools, right? What is the age of this particular time? So beta, from 2.2 millions to 1.5 years to some around 7,000. Right, to some around 7,000 BCE, this period is considered to be as what? Paleolithic age. This is considered to be as Paleolithic age. After this, from 7,000 BCE to around 4,000 C, some books will have different years, but I am telling you approximately what I learned from different sources of history up till now. ठीक है? This is considered to be as Middle Stone Age, or what we can say Mesolithic age. After that beta, from around 4,000 to 3,000, we can call it as New Stone Age. But here one more thing came into picture, and that was the use of copper. Beta, you know that copper is the first metal to be used in Indian subcontinent, sorry. And we call this age as Chalcolithic age. What do we call it as? Chalcolithic. That means you in this time used copper plus stone as a tool. You means human. Right? So, what is the time frame particularly? Yes, it clashed from some region to another. I can call it at from 3,005 years ago to some around roughly in different parts of India. According to that, some around 2,500 years of time. ठीक है? You know that later humans became smart. They mixed copper with tin and started a time that is Bronze Age. That is what beta? Bronze Age. This is the period we famously call as IVC, that is Indus Valley Civilization, Harappan Civilization, or Sindhu Sabhyata Civilization. The brief period of this time is 2500 BCE towards 1750 BCE. Getting my point? And after this, human got to know about iron. That age is considered to be as Iron Age. Yes. What? Hold on. We studied everything very nicely. We started from the evolution of humans, then we saw the Stone Age, majorly in Indian subcontinent, later replaced by Chalcolithic Age, and then the Iron Age. After Iron Age is next chapter. Ready for that too? Okay, chalo. Now moving to NCERT to feel it more connected. Where it is, ma'am, in NCERT? Please tell, or you are telling something that is not present. Beta, everything is here. Everything is here. Right? Hunting, gathering, lifestyle use depends upon the Stone Age. 3 ages are there: Paleolithic, Neolithic, Bronze Age, Mesolithic, Chalcolithic, Iron Age. Now, as you knew about, where is that page? I'm worried about that you will get the notes or not. Yes, here we have. Sorry, bacha. I was literally worried that I might want my students to have this. Now, coming towards its what? Detail. Pay attention to it. Coming towards the detail, then we will read each of that in very nicely. So beta, coming towards this first Stone Age, what is different in one stage to another? So the first period is referred to as Paleolithic Age. What it is known as? Paleolithic Age. Fine. Then the second period is Mesolithic. I just told you the timeline. I will not be repeating the timeline here. We will just discuss about the different characteristics of people in these ages now. Neolithic Age. Why are we categorizing it under different names? As it is just the Stone Age. As it is the time when humans were using what? Stones. Only stones as implements. Why do we categorize it into 3 parts? The reason is that beta, this is what? Old Stone Age. right? This was the time when these tools that were made by the people, like by the humans, were of so old style, like they were big enough, hand axes they were, right? There were choppers, okay, to cut the skin. There were clevers, basically these were the time. Right? When I talk about this Paleolithic people, beta, the majority of them, or what I can say that the major occupation of that time, the behavior of the people at that time was that they were hunter and gatherers. They were hunters and gatherers. Mast life. You know, the best part of human life or human period, hunters and gatherers. Walk, find an animal, hunt it, eat it, sleep. Walk, pluck the fruits, eat it and sleep. See, the life used to be easy when we are in a future time, but I particularly feel that was the most difficult part. You could not figure it out right now, even living the life like that. No shelter, no what we can say, chances of getting food today or not, etc, etc. So let's see. They were majorly hunters and gatherers, right? Their occupation was hunting, gathering, moving. Hunting, gathering, moving. Do they have settled life? No. Do they have any social surrounding? No. There were certain group of people moving from one place to another. Okay, getting my point, beta? But yes, one thing they did very nice. At the end of the Paleolithic age, we found the greatest discovery of all the time up till now, right? And that is discovery of fire. Yes, that accident discovery that happened by rubbing of two stones that actually changed the human life. Right? That was during this period of Paleolithic times. This was the time when people knew nothing about covering their bodies, nothing about shelters. They were living in caves when required, from like surviving from the wild animals or from the natural rainfalls, extreme sunlight, etc. Yes, we found the evidence of caves like Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh and lot more, which actually gives us evidence by the help of pictures they drew in the caves. By that time, creativity at its peak, by they were making pictures in the cave by engraving them and then painting over it the color which is still present. Crazy. Okay, chalo, let's move to the next period, that is Mesolithic age. But again, Mesolithic is middle. So yes, it is middle stone age. It is what? Middle stone age, which is actually a transition period from old to new one. But here what have, like it's majorly seen that along with hunting and gathering, these people knew one more thing, that is domestication of animal, right? These people also knew about one thing, that is domestication of animal. And during this time, fishing became one more occupation of humans. Right? Fishing became one more occupation of human. Just a quick question to the students watching me right now. I know that you're well aware, class 6th you studied that which is the first animal that was tamed. First animal that was tamed. Comment right now. Okay. Coming to the third period, that is Neolithic age. By Neolithic age, which have something new. Okay, it is known as New Stone Age. Something new. What is that something new? Here, something new is that yes, they were hunter-gatherers. Fine, ma'am. They were hunter-gatherers because it is Stone Age, obviously. Yes, ma'am. They knew about domestication of animal. Yes, it is now even increased a lot. Domestication of animals. Then what is new, bhai? Beta, they are the first humans to grow crops. Okay, they are the first humans to grow what? Crops. And from here, the life changed. Because now everything is fighting for what? Feeding the stomach. What else? This is the main fight, feeding the stomach. Right? Eating almonds. This is the main fight. So, yes, humans did know about growing the crops. Wheat and barley were the first crops. The location was Mehergarh, first location. We will talk about the Neolithic locations. In the map, it is given clearly. Okay, great. So this is the Neolithic age. After that, what came? Chalcolithic age, copper used. Bronze age, which is very, very difficult. Iron Age, where farming extensively increased. Why, beta? Because iron is a strong metal used to cut the forest, large scale forest. And then the people started using settled. Population increased intensively as because cultivation increased, crops increased intensively. This is actually the brief about everything. Okay. Here is a map given to you on page number 68, which you will be marking along with me right now, because map work is going to come for 5 marks. Okay. So, yes, this map contains important locations of Paleolithic, Mesolithic as well as Neolithic sites. Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic sites. So, let's do one thing. Let's mark some of the important one. Okay. Like there is one location that is Mehergarh, which is right now in Pakistan. It was the part of Indian subcontinent, and this Mehergarh is the first place. Okay? This is the first place which gives us evidence of the growth of crops. And what were those crops, beta? The crops were wheat and barley. Mark it right now in your map. Hope you are taking your NCERTs along with you. So right now here is one more place, that is Burzahom. This is in Jammu. Okay, this is in Jammu. Here we got about the evidence which I remember is of underground, you know, the pit houses. So underground houses, which we called as pit houses, along with animals being tamed at that time. Here there was one site, I studied it during the time I was preparing for UPSC. So there was a site in which a dead body is buried along with a dog. Okay, because dog was a tamed animal. So yes, Lahore Dev, again, this was a Neolithic site which gave us evidence of the growing of crops. More are there, beta. Bhimbetka is very important, Paleolithic, Mesolithic site which contains the evidence of cave paintings. Isampur is there, very important here in Karnataka. Bagaur is there. Bagaur in Rajasthan and Bagaur in UP, they are two different. And pay attention, there is one site that is a Neolithic site where in Assam. So this can also be a question. Mark the one location that is a Neolithic site in northeastern India, that is Dauji Hajing. Right now it is in Assam. Okay, so let's read the theory which is given in your book and mark accordingly. But I have explained you in detail everything. Don't worry that it is not explained. So the Stone Age is broadly divided into 3 stages. Again, a question can come here. Explain in brief. What, beta? Question number 2. Okay, question number 2. Explain in brief what the 3 broad division of Stone Age in Indian subcontinent. Stone Age in Indian subcontinent. Okay? However, don't think that this is the only question. Like we studied one question. How do we study history? Right? Or what we can say, why do we study history? This can be a question that can come. Why do we study history? Okay? Or a question can come, how do archaeologists study history? How do archaeologists know about history? How do archaeologists know about history? So these are the type of question that can come particularly from this section. Yes, moving straight to the Stone Age, it is divided into 3 stages just explained: Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. The word paleo stands for old, lithic stands for stone, and here it is known as Old Stone Age, right? So they started you brief introduction about this period from 2 million years ago. There is a site, mark it bhai, very important. There is a site in Tamil Nadu which is named as Atiram Pakkam. What it is, beta? Atiram Pakkam. Where it is in the map, we have to mark it also. So it is Atiram Pakkam in Tamil Nadu, that is considered to be 1.5 to 1.7 million years back site, a site of this much time. Right? Then we have in Asampur, we marked it already. In Karnataka, it is about 1.2 million years ago. And these are all, beta, what? These are all Paleolithic site in which we found the evidence of hand axes, choppers, cleavers, right? Made up of what? Quartzite, limestone, etc. So these are the sites. Okay, the stone tools of Paleolithic age looks like this. It looks like what, beta? This was the time when humans were doing progress in hunting and gathering, and later their stones tools were becoming small, right? They were becoming beta what? Small as well as sharp, right? Why do they use it? To hunt animals, actually, to chop their skins and feed their stomachs, and many more work like that. Later on, they moved towards Mesolithic age. You know that what we can say identification factor of Mesolithic age is the use of microliths. Okay, is the use of microliths. So again, lith stands for stone and micro stands for small. Beta, so this was a time when the stone tools become more small and sharp. See, human brain is becoming big. Now they are easily understanding the fact we don't need to make big stones. It needed to be sharp, needle like that. If we hunt the animal at the correct location, what will happen? The animal will die. So this is it. They knew about this. They were largely hunter and gatherers, and we got the evidence of them some around 12,000 years ago. Right? The earth climate became warmer, leading to significant changes in the environment. Forest and grasslands were expanding, and this is the time. New landscape offered variety of resources like animal, fish, edible wild grains, etc. Right? And the population started growing. Here, one Mesolithic site that is very important, Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh, as I just told you. It is famous for its cave paintings. Which site is famous for its cave paintings, beta? Bhimbetka, I would suggest. If anyhow, I particularly visited this place, and hence I am recommending you. If anyhow in life you get a chance to visit this place, please go. Not only this, any of the cave site which tells us about the history, worth visiting. Go yaar, right? So yes, this Mesolithic age. Then comes the Neolithic revolution, right? What does this word revolution means, beta? Revolution means any sudden change in the society. Okay? Any sudden change in the society. How? What makes it new? Yes, exactly, the farming. Beta, yes, they were hunter and gatherers, but now they knew about different food resources, and this is how their life got transformed. And they got a new life. The life got changed, and hence we call it as Neolithic revolution. Now, what is the hallmark of this particular period, beta? Yes, the first one is they were hunter plus gatherer. See, you can write it in the margin like me, and so that when you come back later, you have everything written over here. Right? Along with that, the hallmark was, yes, domestication. Now, this is only the domestication of animals? No. We have domestication of plants as well. People were growing plants, controlling them, making the new breeds, and as well as one more thing, that is cultivation along with animal husbandry. This is the hallmark of Neolithic period, and this is how the humans started behaving different. Now think about it. They are growing crops. When they grow crops, is it a one-day task? Not at all. Is it a one-week task? Not at all, ma'am. It requires some months to grow and harvest the crop. So what do you think? Will wandering be okay for Neolithic period? No, bhai, no. They need to settle anyhow now, beta. They need to settle now, and their life becomes settled life. Yes, they started making hut houses. Okay, this is the revolution. This is the reason we are calling it as a revolution. They started making hut houses, used certain material and resources to make their first settlement, referred as village settlement. One more crazy thing, think about it. Bhai, when they grow the crops, now where to keep those crops? Beta, this was a time when we found certain evidences of pottery, right? Pots were made. They were not very furnished. They were not very glossy like we have today. But yes, it started to be made. Earthenware pottery, mitti ke bartan basically, right? So yes, that was the time. This is a gradual shift from hunting gathering to agriculture settled life. But does it happens at the same time at all the places in Indian subcontinent? No. No, not at all. There was a time when Mehergarh was growing crops, but Bagor was not growing the crops. There was a time in one place they were developed, but in the other place they were still hunter and gatherers. Like in India right now, every city is not metropolitan city. Getting my point? Connecting it? Yes, this is it. Okay, so connect the dots whenever we study the history from the present time also. But a beautiful picture is given here explaining you the difference that what was the situation in West Africa during that time, what was happening in West Asia. The same is with India, with Indian Ganga plains, northern China, south China. I want my students to watch it carefully, understand it very nicely. This is something as a homework I am giving to you. Okay, analyze things, analyze the picture, homework right now. I will be adding more and will be making it as homeworks later. Okay, chalo. So I believe this is clear to you. Coming towards Neolithic period in Indian subcontinent. Now the introduction, everything basic is completed. Coming straight to the Neolithic page in Indian subcontinent, in India. Okay, page is open, start reading. Great. In the Indian subcontinent, we found regional variation. Obviously, the agricultural life will not develop everywhere at the same time. Like for the first time, the first place where we got to know about what agriculture is Mehergarh. We just saw it in the map, beta. It is Mehergarh. Where it is Mehergarh? Mehergarh is in present day Pakistan. It is in present day Pakistan, which is considered to be as oldest Neolithic site. It is considered to be as bacha what? Oldest Neolithic site. Right? And it is the time that is 7000 BCE, and hence I wrote it as 7000 BCE. Okay? Getting my point? Achha, one thing you need to understand or think about it at the same time is that, beta, see, now this is Neolithic age where people started growing crops. They started getting settled. Okay? Think about it. What happened when a human dies? Because we are able to reconstruct the history with the help of bones. So what happens after the human die? Beta, in Paleolithic and Mesolithic, they were wanderers. They left the dead body and moved away. But now they become settled. How can they leave the body? They will not travel kilometers to leave the body, drop the dead body. No. So yes, Neolithic period is the period where yes, we got the burial evidences. Okay, what we got, beta? Evidences of the burial practices. By burial practices, the dead bodies. Yes. See the difference, the change, the revolution we are calling it as? Yes. So beta, yes, Mehergarh is the oldest Neolithic site that dates back to some around 7000 BCE. Here in this place, we found the evidence of sun-dried brick houses. Obviously, people started making settlement. Yes, we found sun-dried brick houses, granaries, a place where grains are stored, and for that pottery has been found. Various ornaments, dead in the graves. Yes, this is the reason, burial practices, dead in the graves. Okay? Semi-precious stones which were basically used to wear as jewelry, made up of stones like lapis lazuli, carnelian and shells. Shells, you know, white color wala. Lapis lazuli is a stone, beautiful, very glossy sa stone, right? Even they cultivated wheat and barley. So if someone asks you which is the first crop that was grown in Mehergarh, so beta, it was wheat and barley. Yes, a separate question on Mehergarh can be asked. What will will be the question? Write a short note on. Write a short note on the site of Mehergarh. So what you will write on the site of Mehergarh? It is the earliest Neolithic site where the first evidence of growing crop has been found. They were wheat and barley. The timeline is around 7000 BCE. Along with that, we found evidence of sun-dried houses. We found burials in the graves, ornaments made up of lapis lazuli, carnelian, okay? And an Indian cattle, that is zebu hummed bull. Mark it, very, very important. Indian cattle, that is zebu hummed bull in particular. Okay? And later we started finding the evidence of copper, and after that, because now the people become what? Settled. They will move towards urbanization, and hence we will get Bronze Age, that is known as Sindhu-Saraswati civilization from the time of 3500 BCE. It was early age. The mature age was found around 2500 BC. This is written here. Okay? 2500, that was mature age. Indian subcontinent was occupied by agriculture, communist, cattle, sheep, goat, herding, and lot more activities came into presence. Are you guys ready to learn the first civilization of Indian subcontinent? And that is what? Sindhu-Saraswati civilization. That is what, beta? Sindhu-Saraswati civilization. Just give me a second. I need to drink water. Okay? Okay. So, your teacher is back. I'm back here. Sindhu-Saraswati civilization. Okay? Beta, first of all, I will give you an introduction about that. Okay? So, in the previous section, you have seen about the Neolithic way of life. It developed around 7000 BC at Mehergarh. Okay? The foothills of Baluchistan, okay, right now where? In Pakistan. Okay? Bolan Valley particularly. Some around 4000 BCE, we found the evidence of early Chalcolithic age. Chalcolithic age where people used the first metal, that was what? Copper. And later in the subcontinent, there was the starting of Bronze Age. Yes, the age we are talking right now is known as Bronze Age. In this section, you will learn the early stages that led to the emergence of the civilization, that is around 2600 BCE. 2600 BCE. So, beta, right, see, here the heading is Sindhu-Saraswati civilization. Okay? Sindhu what? Beta, Saraswati civilization. Can you please look at the map? Yes. This is the map, right? Now comes the question, ma'am, why do we call it as Sindhu-Saraswati civilization? Beta, because here a river starts. Okay? Here river starts. This is the way of that river. This river right now, which we call as Indus. Okay? According to the ancient text of India, it is known as Sindhu river. It is known as what, beta? Sindhu river. Okay? So, what is this river? Basically, Indus river. Take plus its tributaries. It's what, beta? Tributaries. What are those tributaries? Please have a look. There are rivers joining it, right? They are Jhelum. Okay, Jhelum, then they are Chenab, fine. We have Ravi, fine. Beas, theek hai. Satluj. These are the tributaries of river Sindhu. Okay, plus along with that there is one more river, that is Saraswati. Is Saraswati flowing right now? No. Everyone know that it has the evidences in mythology, and sometimes we call it as mythological river. But yes, some few evidence of its presence have also been found. Okay? Is it clear? Great. So now this is the reason we call it as Sindhu-Saraswati civilization. By Sindhu I mean the river Indus plus its tributaries. Getting my point? Beta, along with that, this civilization is also known as Harappan civilization. It is also known as what, my dear students? Harappan civilization. And what is the reason for that? The reason is that beta, Harappa is the first site that was excavated. Okay, Harappa was the first site that was excavated. This Harappa is also in present day, where it is in Pakistan. So where is this Harappa? This is it. Okay, so Harappa was the first site to be excavated, and hence sometimes we call it as Harappan civilization and Indus Valley civilization because of the river Indus. So beta, according to the new NCERT, the Ghagar Saraswati basin, exactly the same, enhanced productivity leading to increased prosperity in these communities. This is popularly known for its style of pottery. Yes, this time the pottery become very furnished, very finished, beautiful designs were made over it. You can see it with the help of timeline and this chart also. What happened? Some around 7000 BCE, Neolithic age started, where humans started growing crops. Then Chalcolithic age, 4500 BC, when human used copper. And then the Bronze age particularly. Okay, when the Bronze age, when we started seeing urbanized, but beta, the mature phase of Harappan civilization is this. From the time of 2600 or 2500, we will use 600 as this is given in the book. Okay, BCE. This is what is written here. Okay, beta, the Harappan people were not merely agriculturists. See, let me tell you that we call the Harappan people or the Sindhu Saraswati people as civilization. What do we call it, beta? The civilization. Why? Why do we call it civilization? You know that we also call them as the first urbanization of Indian subcontinent. What do we call them? First urbanization of Indian subcontinent. Why? What was different in them? Bhai, if you hear na, you will figure out that bhai, something crazy was that in that humans, because later when the civilization ended na, even the people were not that smart. They were smart during this time. They were smart during this time, right? But the sources that helped us to know about this Harappan people are many. Many in the sense, I mean that their planned cities, yes, right? Their planned cities when we started digging the earth, we found the layers in which cities were made. And you know that they were so much planned. I will tell you how planned they were. Okay? Then we have found seals of that time. So those seals were basically use of like bronze seals we have found. So when the trade was there, even we found the shape of ship also, terracotta figure. Okay? So in that seal, what happened when trade was done with Mesopotamian civilization, the contemporary civilization, those items were sealed to identify from which territory it is coming, from which civilization it is coming. So the markings on those seals has been found. Okay, along with that we found precious stones during this time, lapis lazuli, carnelian, which was majorly adorned by men and women as jewelries. Beautiful, right? We have found the evidence of bells. Okay? We have found the evidence of bangles. Even a place is named after bangles. We have found the evidence of terracotta figures. Okay? Terracotta objects. Yes. Then we have found the evidence of a bronze sculpture. Yes, bronze dancing girl particularly. Bronze dancing girl, right? We have found the evidence of the presence of cotton first time during this time. So yes, this was basically the Harappan site we got to know about. Okay? Along with that, one more thing we found here is Harappan script. Right? Harappan script. Bacha, what was Harappan script? We got a signboard, but we are not able to decipher it. So this is undeciphered script. Undeciphered script. You remember in the starting of chapter we studied about the script. What is this script known as? This script is known as Sindhu Lipi. It is known as Sindhu Lipi, which we are not able to yet decipher it. ठीक है, getting my point beta, very good. So yes, this was the way by which we found about the Harappan sites. It is not over yet. Now I will tell you the features of these cities which was making it different from the other civilization, or which make it different from the other part of the world, different from the different cities of the world. So beta, what are the features of Sindhu, ठीक है, Saraswati civilization? What are the features of different Sindhu Saraswati civilization? Now let us read that. First one, right? The first one here is bacha, the planned city. Okay, pay attention. The first one here is planned city. I will tell everything, wait for it. Okay, planned city. The first one here is planned city. The second one here is beta underground drainage system. Okay, underground what? Drainage system. Yes, this was very what we can say worthy to understand of this period. Drainage system. ठीक है? Yes, then we have standardized weights and measure. Yes, weights and measure. When I'm writing, you're thinking, ma'am, what is this? Wait for a minute. ठीक है? Okay, so what do we find beta? Planned cities we have found. We have found underground drainage system. We have found standardized weights and measures. We have found polished, ठीक है, and designed pottery along with terracotta objects, terracotta figures. Terracotta is a basically type of clay bachcha, ठीक है. So we have found the terracotta objects also during this time. When we talk about planned cities, let me tell you what was it. Beta, that's beautiful that we even don't find in the current time. We actually don't find it in the present time. And what is that? Beta, by the planned cities, it means that, see, this is a house, this is a house, this is a house, right? A road is passing by to this house. Now the road ends, connecting it to the another road. You know that whenever a road connects to the another road, it was always in 90 degree. Crazy. Now the lanes are like zigzag. The planned, so-called planned cities by Britishers. So, beta, this is known as grid pattern. This was known as what, my dear students? Grid pattern. Crazy, isn't it? Then we have underground drainage system. What was it, beta? See, every house here, every house here have some dirty water of use, right? After it comes out from a drain, mixing it with another drain in the main lane, connecting it with the another lane, then connecting it with the lane outside the city. So this is how. Okay, that's normal, man. The planned cities are likewise. But still now in India, there are a lot of cities in which these drains are not covered. And they have those underground covered drains at that time. You know that attached washrooms were there in the houses. Their houses were 2 to 3 story houses. There were main gates were at the back side of the houses. Okay? The windows were there. 2-3 story houses, yeah, at that time. You know that by standard weight and measure, what do I mean? Beta, they used baked bricks. You know, for making the houses, they used what? Baked bricks. You know that these baked bricks, these baked bricks particularly was of standard size and measure throughout the Indus Valley civilization. All the sites that we have found in the Harappan civilization, they were same. Actually, they were same. Crazy? Yes. Polished and designed pottery as well as terracotta objects. Yes, that was also fascinating. Let's connect more. So, Sindhu Saraswati civilization, technologically advanced, economically integrated, because we have found evidence of them trading with the other parts of civilization also. ठीक है? So early Harappan Acha, early Harappan phase was also there. There is one site, Kalibangan, that is present day Rajasthan, where we found horizontal as well as vertical what beta evidence of plow. So right now you will see that for agriculture we plow the field. That means we tilt the field, mix up the soil so that nutrients get mixed, right? That evidence have been found from the site of Kalibangan, which clearly indicates, see, two directional, vertical, horizontal. What does it means? So there was a time when they used to grow kharif crop and then they used to grow rabi crop. Okay? You know, they have their own state, as I told you, they have their own weights and measure, and it was depending upon binary multiples 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. This is something to think about. Crazy something to think about. Acha, we missed one thing, that is to look at the map. Okay, look at the map with the important locations. Please mark it in your map work. Don't say that, ma'am, this map work came and you did not tell us. So the important sites are Harappa, Pakistan. Then we have Mehergarh. Again, you know that this is Neolithic site also. Mohenjo-daro, Pakistan. Then we have Dholavira. Okay, this is in India. Dholavira in Gujarat, Lothal in Gujarat. Okay, then we have Kalibangan, that means black bangles. Evidence of bangles have been found here. This is in Rajasthan, Rakhigari in Rajasthan. So yes, these are some of the major sites that I am telling you can come in your exam from what beta? Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Sindhu Saraswati civilization. But one question, ma'am, was it the only civilization in the world that was bronze civilization, urbanized? No. Not at all, beta. So at the contemporary time, at the same time, we have certain bronze ages beyond India or outside India also. Let's learn one by one all of them. You know, one common thing in this civilization is that all of them found near certain rivers. Why? Obviously, they were depending on agriculture, they have a settled life, they need water for their day-to-day requirements. So like bacha, there is a civilization, that is Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Sindhu Saraswati civilization on the bank of river Indus or Sindhu. Similarly, there were more civilization like, pay attention, there was number 1, this is number 2. This is Mesopotamian, okay, Mesopotamian civilization, and this was around 2 rivers, Euphrates as well as Tigris. Okay? This is in West Asia. Tigris, Western Asia. Okay? Third one, that is Egyptian civilization. Egyptian civilization on the bank of river Nile. On the bank of river what? Nile. We have one more civilization, and that is Chinese civilization on the bank of river what, beta? On the bank of river Yangtze. Okay, it is on the bank of river Yangtze, or somewhere it is written as Huang He. Getting my point? Great. So these are the other contemporary civilizations that we are going to study right now. Ready for that? And somewhere we are around the end of the chapter. By the way, by end, I does not mean that end. Okay, the major topic is completed from Indian subcontinent. Now, Mesopotamian civilization, beta. You know what does this word actually means? Right? What does it word come from? So, Mesopotamian, it means land in between. In between what? In between what? So, there were 2 rivers, river Euphrates, okay, river Euphrates, and the other one in the south, that is Tigris. Okay, now the fertile land between these river, land in between, this is particularly known as Mesopotamian civilization. This is particularly or famously known as what, my dear students? Mesopotamian civilization. Although the 4 civilizations were contemporaneous, by this means somewhere similar at the same time, the earliest city was Mesopotamia. If you compare among all of them, right, which one was the earliest one, beta? Mesopotamian. Again, a very, very good MCQ type of question that can come in exam. right? That which among the following is considered to be as earliest not organization, civilization. The word means land in between. By between, we are referring to two rivers between Euphrates and Tigris in West Asia. Right now, ma'am, where in West Asia, can you please tell? Yes, the region right now, that is Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, right? That region is considered as what? Mesopotamian region. Mesopotamian region, right? The crescent shaped foothill of Zagros and Taurus, stretching from Mediterranean in the west to Persian Gulf in the east, are known as fertile crescent due to high agriculture potential. So beta, what happened? Here it was somewhere Mediterranean Sea, and this region is alluvial region where actually farming began and then civilization started. The evidence is around 12,000 years before present. That means 12,000 years ago. Please calculate. It is around 10,000 BC. Okay. So copper tools arrived here around 4,000 BC. However, copper tools around here 4,000 BC. And this use of copper facilitated agriculture, their economic life, and they started living urbanized settlements. See, this is the map. This is the map as I just showed you. This is Mediterranean Sea. Okay, this is Mediterranean Sea, and you can see the settlement here. Here where you will find Euphrates River, Tigris River. This land in between is considered to be as Mesopotamian civilization. Again, the picture of the timeline is also given. Picture of the timeline is also given here. Okay, beta, one advice that I myself want to give you, that this is new NCERT. Okay, this is new NCERT. We do not have old previous year questions. I don't know why this happened with you, but actually it happened with you, and we have to accept it, by the way. So we don't have old PYQs. Okay, we don't have old map work syllabus. Okay, we actually don't know how the picture based question can come in exam, but we as teachers, me as a teacher, we can figure out that, we can understand that whenever I am marking anything in a picture, please and please pay attention to it. Whenever I am marking any timeline in a given NCERT, please mark it and understand it. This is the reason, beta, this is the very first time I am teaching you directly from the NCERT, because I don't want my class 9 students to struggle in these basic things. Basic things that they missed this timeline. Now they don't know anything. See, in this timeline, there they are telling that some around 7,500 BC, there was evidence of Neolithic age in Mesopotamia, then Chalcolithic age, and then the starting of Bronze Age, where there were people known as Sumerians, right, which actually settled in around a city that is Sumer. We will see that also. Then there were Akkadians, Assyrians, and Babylonians. All these are cities particularly in present day time. Okay? So gradually the cities started to grow. Initially it was Sumer, then Akkad, Assyr, Babylonia. Okay, so this is how beta civilization happened, and this civilization is named after city-states. Okay, those city-states, as they were cities, people lived in clusters, developed what? Government. I mean government, there was something governing that region. Right? See, this is how it is developing. Among these 4 major city-based civilization, the flourished from 3500 BC onwards was Mesopotamia, with the cities or the people, those referred as Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian, Babylonian. Crazy? Getting it? Okay. Yes. So what is a city-state? A sovereign state. Sovereign, you know, supreme state. We're centered around a city that rules the surrounding territory. So again, this was a city, this was a city, this was a city, and here a cluster of people, surroundings they were living. All together they are referred as Sumerians. Okay? And the different one referred as Akkadian. The other one referred as Assyrians, right? So, bhai, this is the starting of the dangerous history right now, where everyone is fighting for territories. This is how it became when they become settled, when they form their governing bodies. Okay, so yes, first we will talk about the first one, that is Sumerians. We are popular for their temple-like structure. So beta, the Sumerians were basically in the city right now like Ur and several other cities in Sumer, that is in southern Iraq. Okay, Iraq may, when you will see the southern part, there will be cities like Sumer, Ur. All these was southern Mesopotamia, referred as Sumerians. They are popular for their system of dams and canals for irrigation, and the first to use mud bricks and burnt bricks in the construction of houses, defense wall and other structures. Very, very, very important topic as well as the point. Right? So who were Sumerians? Who were living in southern Mesopotamia? The cities like Ur or Sumer. Okay, then they were the first who used the burnt bricks. They were first actually to use the bricks also. Okay, so bricks of different sizes were used during that time that helped them in the construction of houses, walls, other structures, canals, dams, etc. One of the most popular structure was this. Doesn't it looks like a temple? Right, one by one there is a floor over another. Doesn't it looks like a tower? Because actually it was. So beta, it is a tower like step pyramidal shaped temple with several floors above it, one over the other, floors over the other. Okay, so it is known as ziggurat. So question MCQ usually will come, what is ziggurat? Or is it a bathing place? No. Is it a granary? No. Is it a temple? Yes. Or a one-marker question, name the temple structure that was built by Sumerians in Mesopotamia. What you will say? Right? What you will say? This. Get it? Great. The Sumerian worshipped multiple gods. Okay. Did they worship gods? Yes. Right? Beta, they worship gods whom they believe had power over natural forces such as flood and winds, and built temples for each of them. So beta, whenever we study history, it actually tells us that every civilization, that was one common thing, that we considered nature as the god, the wind as god, right? Vayu Bhagwan, Agni as god, fire. Okay, the rain as god, Indra god. Similarly, in the contemporary civilization was going on. For that nature, they built the temples. However, the temples were not present in Indus Valley civilization. Mark that. Okay, no temple, no evidence of temple found in Indus Valley civilization, but here it was found. Temple played an important role in people's life. Each city built a grand temple, not ziggurat, by chief deity, grand temple, tower-like structure, which actually tells us that there was some temple authority also. Like the priest we have right now, there might be someone who takes care of that temples also. Obviously, see. Right? There is a chance, there is a possibility that they might be the highest level of authority too in that period. So yes, they were agriculturists, but along with that there was trade, transport of goods and temple authority also. Okay? However, this temple entry was restricted to certain high priest and priestesses that would probably be a part of ruling class, reflecting a clear division of social hierarchy. Is that social hierarchy found in Indus Valley civilization? No. No such hierarchy has been found in the Indus Valley civilization, and this is about what? Sumerians. Right? Do you find any similarity between temples in India and Sumerians? No, bhaiya, not at all. We do not found because at this time Indus Valley civilization, people do not have any evidence of temple. Write it, mark it, because here let's explore is also important. Think about it also becomes important. Okay? Again, one figure is given. See how beautiful it is made, yaar. So, this is the scene from Sumerian life on a decorated box. Note that the wheel cart and the elaborate drapery and the ornaments worn by the people. See, there was a wheel cart. right? Yes, they knew about the wheel cart. Obviously, yaar beta, wheel was actually developed in Neolithic age only, when people used to transport from one place to another. ठीक है, cities were large settlements, we found pottery, we found beautiful jewelries and many more things like we did in Indus Valley civilization. Please don't miss reading this because this is important. And I am giving you as a task for this homework question. Now, from my side, the question is that you will answer in the comment section after reading from here. What are Gabarbans? Okay? What are Gabarbans? Question is for you. Class 9 students, be active. Don't sleep in my class. So, what are Gabarbans? Okay? One more question. Ma'am, in the Indus Valley civilization, we found a script. Do we find any script here? Yes. We find beta. The script, yes, the art of writing we found in the Mesopotamian civilization, that is popularly known as cuneiform script. Okay, that is popularly known as what beta? Cuneiform script. Now what it is? It is the earliest style of writing that was developed by Sumerians. So who developed this cuneiform script? Sumerians. And how was the script? Was it written on a paper? Was it just spoken? No beta. So it was written by pressing a wedge-shaped stylus into soft clay tablets. So similarly, this was a clay tablet. Stylus was there, sharp stylus which used to engrave and shape the what beta? Letters. Right? This cuneiform comes from a Latin word cunios, which means wedge, referring to wedge that was shape. Wedge means sharp edge that was shaping the clay. Okay, so yes, a cuneiform script was found. However, in the script the letters the letters were in picture style, pictographic style. Okay, so yes, there was beginning of writing. This was the type of cuneiform, what we can say, clay tablet that we have found here. Several languages of Mesopotamia later went to the use of end of 1 millennium BC. Okay. Now question is, ma'am, what was written on it? Did we decipher it or not? Like, it is also unfortunately here that we did not decipher. No, we did it. Right? So beta, yes, cuneiform consists of 100 of marks pressed on damped surface of clay tablets. This enjoy high status in the society. So whoever write it, na, the scribers, they were enjoying high status in the society. Cuneiform was widely used over Mesopotamia by different city names. Even they spoke different language. That's very, very impressive. The cuneiform tablet gave a glimpse of the lives and beliefs of the Mesopotamian, their myth, their belief, their epic, their hymns, their logots, the way of living, their crafting, their farming, everything. What actually we lacked somewhere in IVC, because if we decipher, I think we will find a lot. Okay, so this was about the first people in the Mesopotamian in the early civilization period, that was Sumerians. That was Sumerians. And now we will move toward the second one, that is Akkadians. What you have to remember about Sumerians is basically they knew about cuneiform writing. Okay, they knew about cuneiform writing and that temple-like structure. What was the spelling? Ziggurat. Okay, the temple-like structure, that is ziggurat. These are the two important points that you need to mark right now in your NCERT related to Sumerians. I'm just coming back in a second after my tea. We will continue the same. Okay, your ma'am is back and we will study the second group of people in the Mesopotamian civilization, that is Akkadians, and it obviously come from a state. Yes, as we just discussed. So beta, the power of Sumerians were overshadowed in 2334 BC. So after a period of time, we found that there was growth of other people, other region, other nation states along with Sumerians, and one of them was Akkadians. As the power of the Sumers or the authorities of the Sumer were gradually declining, the people of this region spoke Akkadian. So ma'am, was it different? Beta, in the Mesopotamian civilization, we found different group of people Mesopotamian civilization. Now see, their script was same but the language was different. Now how is it possible? It is actually possible. Like there are different languages in India which is written in what? Devanagari script, but languages are different. Similarly, the script was cuneiform only, beta, but their language was different from each other. Akkadians also were the people who spoke the language and they were settling in the city Akkad. ठीक है, so let's talk about Akkadians after the Sumerians. As of Sumerians, we also found some differences in their what we can say settlement. Yes, we found that, right? Basically, this became the first dynastic empire. Now, what is this dynasty? But a dynastic empire means where? Okay, where the ruling authority has been found, and this ruling authority has tells us about the hierarchy of rule. By hierarchy, what do I mean? One family, another family, another family, they are ruling one after the other. That is known as dynastic empires. Okay? So the cuneiform tablets of one of the most important Akkadian kings, Sargon, talks about Mesopotamian trade with Eastern territories. Now Eastern territories, they mean Indus Valley civilization. Yes, we have found the great evidence of Mesopotamian people trading with Indus Valley civilization, and the interesting part is that of Dilmun, Magan and Meluha. What are these Dilmun, Magan and Meluha? Beta, this place Dilmun right now is basically Oman. ठीक है, Dilmun is what beta? Oman. And then we will talk about the next one. What is that? That is Magan, right? Magan is basically present day Bahrain, right? Bahrain. So Oman, Bahrain, this was the place. And now what about Meluha? This Meluha was Indus Valley civilization, the part of Indus Valley civilization that is Mohenjo-daro. Right? They are talking about here as Meluha. They are referring to Mohenjo-daro or the Harappan sites. Getting my point? What do they trade at that time? They trade the stone beads, ivory elephant, right? You know, na, elephant tusk and the shapes made of that. Timber, gold dust and probably copper also. Like in India, copper was present, tin was not largely present. So from the region of Afghanistan and western part of it, we used to trade that too. This is the map which will help you to tell about the Meluhan site. Yes, this is the Meluhan site, that means Indus Valley civilization. Then these were the Mesopotamian, this was Sumer, right? Or the Sumerians used to live here. Babylonian people used to live here. Assyrians used to live here. This is Dulman. Bahrain is here, right? Oman region particularly, near the Persian Gulf. So all this was connected to each other. The evidence of that we have found in this Akkadian, the clay tablets found in the Akkadian period. Then we have Assyrians beta, right? Once the Akkadians lost their supremacy, their power, their sovereignty, then came the time of what beta? Assyrians. Again, they used different language, but the script was same. However, their period was so small, they ruled till 1700 BC, and after that, Mesopotamian power was like destroying, or what we can say declining, and the nearby region gained more power or supremacy. The last one in the list is Babylonians. Babylonians, they were dominant after the Assyrians, right? They become dominance after the Assyrians some around 1900 BCE. Babylonians' glory started with the ascendance of Hammurabi in 1792 BCE. So this was a ruler at that time, strong ruler at that time. It served as a foundational model for future legal system. By the end of 1400 CE, Babylonians had lost their early prominence due to repeated attacks by Hittites and other rising power that were nearby. So this is it beta. Let me tell you, this is the region of Mesopotamia where there were different cities like Sumer, where Sumerian rules in the early civilization phase. ठीक है, from around 9000 8000 BC. Then after this their power decreased, and who raised into power? Akkadians. Then who came into power? Assyrians. Then who came into power? Babylonians. Okay, the different cities, the different time, and hence the long period of time, this is considered as one civilization, Mesopotamian civilization. Right? And the Mesopotamian word means the land in between. Land in between. In between what, bacha? Do you remember the starting? It between the river Euphrates as well as Tigris. Okay? This is just the revision of that. Fine. We are starting the next civilization after we completed Sindhu Saraswati, and then we completed Mesopotamian too. Now coming towards Egyptian civilization, one of the earliest, because the earliest was Mesopotamian, and hence one of the earliest civilization of the world, which has a lasting impact on the history towards the world, and majorly in Europe. Right? The Greeks, the Romans, we talk about right now, comes from this place only, that is Egypt. That is Egypt. What, beta? Egypt. You know, in the starting, I just told you, father of history. Who was he? Who was the father of history? Herodotus was the father of history, and I told you that he was a Greek person. Yes, he visited once in his age. What? This place. Okay, visited and wrote about Italy as early as 5th century BC. Right? There was one more collection written in 19th century. Lee Egypt also provides us fascinating details about it. But whenever in history we talk about Egypt, what comes in our mind are those pyramids. Those structures which you usually see in the pictures, the movies, etc. As well as those mummies too. Egyptian mummies. Right? Do you remember? Actually they are connected to the history, right? But Egyptian history is reconstructed by some old papers on which written documents have been found, and those were referred as papyrus. They were referred as, beta, what? Papyrus. Now what's papyrus? They was made by cutting the inner trunk of the papyrus plant. There was a plant in which the trunk was being cut, and that inner part, right, which was safe, right, there it was written, strip, crisscrossing, pressing, drying, and then polishing them into sheets. They were converted into sheets by different processing. First taking out all that strips, pressing it nicely, and then then it was written. And even to last it for years, some medicines were also being used to take this thing for future years. Libraries date back to 2000 BC, stored papyrus scrolls in labeled jar or shells. One such jar contains the oldest version of the story of Sinbad the Sailor. So there were a lot of short stories, right, that are considered as tales. The tales that tells us about ghosts, miracles, romances, and even oldest form of Cinderella. The story which we actually saw in the modern form comes from an Egyptian civilization time, by so long period, 2000 BCE. Okay? But now comes to the question, how it is deciphered, as Indus Valley script is not deciphered. So beta, there was one person, he was named as Pierre Bocard, right? Pierre Bocard, a French army engineer repairing a fort in Egypt. He was repairing a fort in Egypt in 1799, found a giant black stone. Okay? This stone was covered in some writings. Now again, over the stone something was written. Yes, this was Rosetta Stone. Question can come that what is the role of Rosetta Stone? So beta, this Rosetta Stone is the first stone which help us to reconstruct the Egyptian writings. Which have 3 types of writings, including Greek. Since people could write Greek, this was huge breakthrough, like having a bilingual dictionary for lost language. In 1822, a French linguist, this person is very important in history, that is Jean-Francois, right? Jean-Francois Champollion. Okay, mention his name beta in your NCERT as very important. Jean-Francois Champollion, who was the first person to decipher the script of Egyptian civilization. To decipher the script of Egyptian civilization that was written on the Rosetta Stone found by a French army engineer whose name was Pierre Bocard. But who deciphered the script? That was Champollion. That was what? Champollion. An important and very important one marker question for your exam. Very important one marker question. How was Egyptian script deciphered? You know one crazy thing there, beta? See, there are different calendars in right now in India also. ठीक है, some people use the calendar of Vikramaditya, Raja Vikramaditya. So basically calendars are made likewise. We in the world use the Greek calendar, Roman calendar, which is basically from the time when there was birth of Jesus Christ. But in India, we somewhere use Shaka Samvat, right? Shak Samvat, basically from the time when Shak rulers enhanced their empire, kingdom. Then we have Vikramaditya calendar from Raja Vikramaditya, from what we can say Vikram Samvat we call it. Okay, when Raja Vikramaditya from Ujjaini, that is city in Madhya Pradesh, established his empire. Okay, so similarly beta, there are different times of calendar. Here we have Egyptian calendar that show us 3 seasons, each consisting of 4 months. Like usually we have today. Right? Inundation, that is autumn. Parrot growing, that is winter. Shemu harvest, that is summer. Again, each season is associated with the crop. Right? Getting points? It is based on the rising of Sirius, dog star, where year 365 days, 12 months into 30 days plus 5 days extra. This is quite accurate what we follow today. However, it is just 1/4, 4 days extra. Okay? So yes, this is one of the picture from papyrus. Papyrus again, the document that help us to reconstruct the Egyptian history. Question will come, the papyrus is what and belongs to which civilization? Write in your book. Okay? Fine, very good. So yes, it was along the river Nile. Summer, the river flooded, leading to annual inundation. So yes, see this autumn month, it is referred as inundation. What does it mean? So during the time rainy season where there was flood type, right? Flood type of situation when water comes to the mainland region and people struggle, and hence it is referred as inundation. Rich mud Kemet was grown. So it was a type of rice only. Okay. The black coming from the Black River Valley. Okay, Kemet is the black coming from Black River Valley. Again, the region in which Egyptian civilization flourished, there is a map. This is Lower Egypt, Saqqara, Memphis, Giza, famous for pyramids of Giza, Heliopolis, Turaha. This is Gulf of Suez. Okay? And the above is Mediterranean Sea. Mediterranean Sea. Just towards it east was Mesopotamian civilization. Right? Mesopotamian civilization. This was the tip of Africa. And then here it connects what beta? West Asia. Here it connects West Asia. You move beyond more east, you will find what? Indus Valley civilization or Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Okay? People in the Egyptian civilization also grow crops. We have found the evidence of digging ditches that could divert water from the Nile River into the fields and store water in reservoirs so that they can be used later. We have also found the evidence of local government, cooperative, what we can say, efforts to administer this region, to rule this region have been found. Getting my point? Great. The next is about the step pyramid at Saqqara. So this is not the usual pyramid which we found at Giza. Rather, this was step type of like mountain. At mountains we do terrace farming. So this was steps made. This is again a step, step. Right? But see, over time certain powerful people ruled this region of Egypt. Okay, certain powerful people ruled this, and those individual was called called as pharaohs. What they were referred as pharaohs. Okay, OHS, pharaohs. They emerged to be the ruler of Egypt. It is always being said that in Mesopotamia we found temples. Right? In Mesopotamia, what we found temples, which claimed to be the power hub. In Egypt, we found the pyramids. The pyramids were of different shape at the different cities, but somewhere all those layers tells us about that at the top level. At the top level, there was an individual who was ruling the entire cities, that was pharaohs. Right? In the next level, there were certain officers or the ministers living. At the next level, there were certain administrative people who were living. At the lowest level, there were slaves who were living. So these steps in the pyramids tells us about the social hierarchy clearly. There were different level of people in the society. But in the Indus Valley civilization, we did not find any evidence of either temples, social hierarchy, king, or any of the administrative unit, and hence it is very strange that who was controlling such a well established planned city with standards, weights and measure, and that is actually amazing part of Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Here we found different steps. You know that all these actually are differentiated from each other. Like the powerful individual was living at the top, right? At the top. You know that who was he? Pharaohs. They emerged as the ruler of Egypt. After their death, these pharaohs were buried deep underground, and a rectangular structure called mastaba was placed over the burial chamber. So what was done? It was buried under the ground and only a chamber was kept upside there. That was referred as mastaba. Question can come, what is mastaba? Okay, what is mastaba? So beta, mastaba is a burial chamber in which who was buried? Pharaohs was buried. Pharaohs were buried. Okay, they were buried. Getting my point? At the top of the pyramid. One prominent example of that is found at Saqqara, the picture which is added over here. Right? We found different shapes of pyramids also. Okay? Beta, that lived on after death if the body was preserved through mummification. Exactly. The mummies that you watch in the movie, this was a belief that we have to prevent their bodies for the future life also. That is what mummification. What is that mummification, beta? This is the process of removing the internal organs, you know. Do you know that? How is that mummy is being formed? So they remove all the internal organs except the heart, because they believe that heart actually beats after removing all the organs. So, and drying the body with natron. The body was then oiled, wrapped in linen strips, exactly, placed in a coffin and buried with rituals. Yes, there were rituals. They were buried in the coffin. Coffin, do you know? The box in which they were buried. So this is the process. See, the pyramid is like that. Pharaoh at the top, government officials, nobles and the priests living. After that, there were landlords, artisans and merchants, and that was serf and slaves. Exactly in the Vedic times where we can see at Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Something similar to that is the pyramid image that we find here. Okay? There are a lot more things find at that time. Now see, along with these burials, along with the dead bodies, we found certain objects also from different civilizations. Even in Indus Valley civilization also, some of the daily items used by the Egyptians are here. Please see the picture, you will find interesting. During the leisure time, these Egyptians used to do a lot of activities. They play board games, they enjoy music, they enjoy dancing. There were festivals, right, that were dedicated to gods, to nature, as well as to the pharaoh's rule, because they claimed to be the supreme power in this Egyptian organization. Each god has a festival in which their statue was paraded. That means procession was there, accompanied by music played on instruments such as sistrum. So what was that instrument? Sistrum. What is sistrum? Instrument, musical instrument. Okay? Festivals also celebrated reign of Pharaoh. From this time to this time, this Pharaoh, we celebrate Jayantis in India. Similarly, ठीक है, like for example the Seth festival was held to mark the king's rule of 30 year on the throne. Are very beautiful. Like see, when we study about history we know a lot of things about history. ठीक है, like people used to claim that this started in the Indian civilization, Indian subcontinent. See, every civilization have the history of festivals, have the history of how gods were treated, how kings were treated, how festivals started, and a lot more thing. Don't miss this. Egyptian women in general enjoyed more right than Greek or the Romans counterparts as they grow over property and run business too. See, the women's, right, which are who are treated not good in the society, not equal, egalitarian in the society, were actually more powerful at some of the time. Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi, this was a region where this particular civilization existed in a period of time. I'm not talking about only Mesopotamian, I'm talking about Egyptian here, right? She became the queen of the age of 18. See, at the age of 18. So yes, that was great. The civilizations were great. The last but not the least, that is Chinese civilization. What it is, beta? The Chinese civilization, let's please revise from where we started. We started from the 4 great civilizations of the world. First one was Sindhu Saraswati over the bank of river Indus, okay, along with the mythological Saraswati. Then Mesopotamian, in which we studied about Sumerians, Akkadians, Iranians, Babylonians. Next we moved towards Egyptian, where we saw what? That the information we got from papyrus, and then lot more about the king, pharaohs. Then now moving towards the last civilization, that is Chinese civilization, right? I know it's boring, but beta, it's going to come in your exam. So Chinese civilization flourished along the river, that is Huanghe, which is popularly known as Yellow River. Is it yellow in color? No, actually the stones over there, na, like red and yellow soil. See, think about that. And Yangtze River. Similarly, Euphrates and Tigris, the land between, was referred as what? Comment down. So similarly, Huanghe as well as Yangtze River, the 2 river valley between which we found Chinese culture, Chinese civilization, and that was Neolithic, because we found the evidence around 7000 BCE. You know that during the 7000 BC, they were aware about only stone tools, but later on, some around 2000 BC, there was introduction of the metals, and those metals were copper as well as bronze. Now these people learned about metallurgy, and hence in this Yellow River basin, what is Yellow River? Huanghe. It was Bronze Age. Right? Later on, around 1600 BC, similarly as it was in India, Indus Valley civilization, but this is contemporary, thoda sa late, right? Little late to Indus Valley civilization. These people also developed urban settlements, and those events collectively where humans were gradually moving towards urbanization in China is referred as Chinese Bronze Age territorial empire. Because here there were dynasties who were ruling. One of the earliest dynasty is Shang dynasty that ruled around 1600 to 1046 BC. Zhou dynasty later than this, and this 2 dynasty collectively referred to as Bronze Age. Right? By the time 600 BCE came, they knew about iron. In India also around 1000 BC. It was 1000 BC when we knew about iron, and this was the time when Vedic age started in India, where and the different dynasties started ruling in India. Similarly here, Shang dynasty, Zhou dynasty, okay? Chinese started to grow by the knowledge of iron in some around 600 BC. The name China probably comes from the Iron Age Qin. That Qin becomes Qin, okay? And this was the first imperial dynasty of China, which is credited for unifying the country. Like if I ask you the question, first all Indian empire, that was Mauryan dynasty. Similarly, the first imperial dynasty of China Qin dynasty, Qin dynasty, after which it become a larger, what we can say, territory. Okay? Another important Chinese dynasty of the Iron Age was Han dynasty, some around 206 BCE to 200 CE, that means AD. You can see the timeline, beta. 7000 Neolithic age, then Bronze Age came. After Bronze Age dynasty came Shang, Zhao, then Han. Shang, Zhao, and then Han dynasty. Okay? During the Zhao rulers were both kings as well as priests as well. They were both kings as well as priests as well. Similarly, everything is similar to the Indian history. See, everything was going contemporary in the world. Right? One and the another, like same thing. Next is about how do we know about China? Obviously, through archaeological as well as literary sources, like we know about the other subcontinent too. So China has an abundance of historical records and official historiographers recorded events. The earliest source of information about the China are oracles. What are oracles? We will discuss these stone-based inscriptions, okay, which were symbols made on piece of animal bone and tortoise shell, right? So basically, these inscriptions that were engraved on tortoise shells or animal bones. They were heated until they cracked, and interpretations were made based on the patterns of the crack. See, these are the cracks, and then the interpretations are made. Okay? The script used in China was logographic script. What do we call it as? Logographic script. Okay? Where characters representing entire words or morphemes. Morphemes means smallest unit in the language. Basically a word in the smallest way possible. Like there is a tree, so they will draw it likewise. So this is a tree. They need not to write TREE. So there is a picture based logograph, right? Logograph, which actually in China is taught right now also. You know that? They learn so many characters like that. And that script is referred as logographic script. Their characters resemble many objects. For tree, they make something. For a person, they make something. For snake, they make something. For an bird, they make something. So there are characters in their alphabets. They are not alphabets actually, they are the characters, which we actually teach right now also. Getting my point? And here is some other craft items unique to Chinese civilization were their jade objects and figurines, which were either ritual or prestige objects, right? Okay, fine. Very good. Chinese pottery later become prominent. Initially, the bronze metallurgy, the weapon, the tools and the ritual vessels were very prominent. Okay? Getting my point? And here is the famous Great Wall of China. Great Wall of Beta, what China? We have, every one of us know that. Which is the longest wall in the world? China. Great Wall of China. You know that it was built around 680 BCE. Yes, it is one of the oldest, strongest structure in the world. Great Wall of China. Why? Why it was made is a question. Who made it as a question? Why was there need to make a wall that is so long and strong? So beta, this was built around a period stretching to 2000 years. See, it took 2000 years to make this wall. Initially, several walls were built around 680 BCE onwards by Zhou and other dynasty as protection against the violent raids of nomadic tribes. Okay, let me tell you one thing. So this is China. This was Indian subcontinent. Okay? So you know that this region is known as Mongol right now, which is a sandwich region between Russia as well as China, right? In this Mongol region, beta, various, what we can say, tribe used to live, and those tribes were not very like good in nature. They was very dangerous. There was they were popular for killing peoples. So when they started here from marching, like they are moving likewise, they started moving towards China as well as India. This was the time that Great Wall of China was made for prevention, for protection. ठीक है, it started around 680 BC by Zhou dynasty. It took 2000 years to get it completed, and this is how it is famous in the world. This is how it is very, very much famous and popular in the world. Woke up or sleeping? What happened? Woke up or sleeping? Ma'am, it is not ending. Beta, this is a lengthy chapter. Think about that. At least we are studying about India. What about at that time you might be studying about Nazism, Hitler, Russian Revolution? Do you believe that that was more interesting? No. Indianized version of NCERT. Okay. So silk, yes, very, very popular thing about China is the silk route. Okay, is the silk route. First I will brief you about silk route, then tell about silk. So what happened, beta? This was China, this was Europe, and this was Indian subcontinent. For a longer period of time, from China there was a route which used to trade silk. Okay, so beta, China is the first country to make the finest quality of silk, which was in high demand in Europe by Romans, by the Greeks. So yes, this silk was carried through various routes, and this was not a single route. This was club of various road as well as water routes. That is collectively known as silk route. That is collectively known as silk route, right? So silk was known to Chinese for the Neolithic period. So beta, they knew about how to make silk from the Neolithic period onwards, and this became an important craft of them. ठीक है, there was time in 2nd century BC during which Han dynasty was ruling that silk became an important item of export. The route through which that silk was passing, that route came to be popularly known as Silk Route. Right? Did you remember that Silk Route you studied in class 7? Please recall those memories where you were sleeping in the class, sitting on the last bench, yawning, which you are doing right now also. Okay. Fine. A lot more thing. That is basically the end of the chapter. This is how we learned about the great civilizations. We learned about the great civilization, and if you are thinking that we are leaving, wait beta, let's revise what we studied. Let's revise what we studied. So beta, what we studied in this chapter? What we studied in this chapter? Okay. First of all, pay attention to that. First of all, we learned about what? Human evolution. Pay attention, everyone, wake up. We learned about human evolution. Please check that do you remember anything or not. Okay. In this, the important pointers were, right, beta, the important pointers were, why do we study history? Okay, the important pointers were, why do we study history? Question number 1, right? How did archaeologists what knew about history? How did archaeologists knew about what? History. Okay, yes ma'am, this is important. More, what was important? The evolution of humans. Evolution of humans. Okay, beta, we know that, we are well aware that, right, the human-like structure, that means series of hominids, those who behave like humans, started from Homo habilis. After which there was human, that was Homo erectus, first person who stood erect, straight, upright, and moved out of Africa in search of what? Food, in search of water. Okay, towards Africa as well as Asia. Here I am talking about the period 2 million years back. Moved, and we got the evidence of their presence in the form of what? In the form of skulls found in different locations of India. Okay, after that beta, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Neanderthalis, and then Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens, I am writing it in short now. Okay, then what do we studied beta? After human evolution, we actually got to study about history of what? History of Indian subcontinent. We studied about history of Indian subcontinent. Wake up guys, right? we started the history of Indian subcontinent from Stone Age, right? From Stone Age. How many parts it is divided? Do you remember? Yes. So it was first Paleolithic age. Paleolithic age from somewhere around 2 million years back when humans started moving towards Asia to 10,000 years back. Then we got the evidence of Mesolithic age. Mesolithic age. Then the Neolithic age. Neolithic age, the earliest site, right? Some around 7000 BCE was Mehergarh, where in Pakistan, the first place which tells us about the evidence of farming. Wheat and barley were grown. Wheat and barley were grown. And this is how revolution came. People started settling up. After Stone Age came what, beta? Chalcolithic, Chalcolithic we call it, right? Where humans learned the use of first what, beta? Metal, that was copper along with stone. Chalcolithic age. Right? After that, there was Iron Age. Sorry, Arey bhai, I forget one. And that was Bronze Age. Bronze Age. Which time? Some around 2500 BCE. Before Common Era. This is popularly known as Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Okay, Sindhu Saraswati, what bacha? Civilization. And then after this will come what? Iron Age. Iron Age you are going to study in the next chapter, State and Society. In-depth chapter I will be explaining you. You need not to worry about that. Right? Everything in detail in the same manner we did it in this chapter. Great. So this is what we learned, beta, up till now in the chapter. Done? No. No, ma'am, not at all done. Because after this, we studied about 4 contemporary civilizations. Okay, 4 contemporary what, bacha? Civilization. This is just a revision. Okay, don't take it as like everything is there in it. 4 contemporary civilization. The first here we started with bacha Sindhu Saraswati civilization. What? Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Get it? Sindhu Saraswati civilization. ठीक है. Second one, Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamian civilization. Okay, bhai. ठीक है, bhai. The next one here was which one? Egyptian, the mummy ones. Egyptian civilization. And the last but not the least, that is Chinese civilization. Chinese civilization on the banks of which rivers? Question is that? The first thing is that only? Yes, this was on the bank of river Sindhu. This is known as land in between. In between of what? In between Euphrates river and Tigris river. ठीक है भाई. Egyptian Nile river. And the Chinese popularly on the Yellow river and Yangtze river. Yangtze and Wang He. ठीक है. अच्छा, which among them is known as Yellow River? Please comment na, because you studied meanwhile I was teaching. Also, we learned about certain features of these civilizations. Like when I talk about Sindhu Saraswati civilization, it was referred as Meluha by Mesopotamian people. ठीक है. We got to know about the Harappan site, first site excavated. I explained you about the planned cities. ठीक है. I explained you about the trade practices, the seals as well as the jewelry that was worn by them made up of precious stones. Then we studied about the proper drainage system. I told you about the presence of wells in that, the presence of plough land at Kalibangan, right? Plough land at Kalibangan, the evidence of that. We even found the evidence of bangles in that particular place. ठीक है. Various thing has been like I taught to you in this particular topic. Okay. Then coming to Mesopotamian civilization, beta. In Mesopotamian civilization, there were 4 popular cities. The first one that actually developed was over Sumer, known as Sumerian peoples, known for their cuneiform script. Then we got to know that there was people residing in Akkad, Akkadian, right? Similarly on Iranian they were known as, and the last were over Babylonian. They were different from each other in terms of language, but yes, their script was same. One question to you, all of you, beta. There was a temple structure. There was a temple structure which actually tells us the presence of priest who used to administer, control the region. Please tell me the name. Ziggurats, ma'am, you told. Okay, so beta, I will ask another question to you now. I just spoke it. Yes, so there was a temple structure which actually tells us about the presence of what? Some supreme ruler over there, those priests. Okay? Then coming towards Egyptian civilization. But in the Egyptian civilization also we have seen that there were dynasties which came into power one after the another. Right? And the evidence of them is actually clear with the help of pyramids. Right? Who was living at the top level of the pyramid and who was living at the bottom level of pyramids? Do you remember that? That actually tells us about the structure of the society in Egypt. Very good. Now coming towards Chinese civilization, on the bank of river Yangtze and on the bank of river Huanghe. What? Yangtze and Huanghe. Yellow River. Question is still there. Okay? Acha, we also read about papyrus in Egyptian civilization. The thing that is important about Chinese civilization is, yes, they also know about bronze. They also got to know about copper. Okay? Then later they got to know about iron. However, it was little late than us in comparison to us. One famous thing about this Chinese people was Silk Route. Okay? As well as the Chinese writings also. Get it? Clear? Very good. So this is all what we studied in today's chapter. Everything from NCERT. I hope you have underlined it along with me. You have marked everything along with me. You have analyzed all the pictures along with me. And you have written all the questions that I told you in between. Right? And this is how we will be completing the entire class 9th. We will be completing it, means you need not to do it alone. I will be making sure that you are doing it with me. And if you reached up till here, beta, I understand that this video is quite helpful for you, and it is, you need the what? You need actually the written document or session PDF. From where you are going to get that? In the description box there is a link attached which will lead you towards this particular, what we can say, frame. You can buy this course. You will get this, okay, this course for free. See, this is the resource. This is the schedule. My video according to this calendar will be uploaded on 3rd. Right? When the class will be uploaded, below that class, beta, you will get what? See, like this. Right? Like this. Below this class, you will get smart notes. The notes that I explained you in this class, I will be sharing the exact PDF to you, where I have written and underlined the NCERT keywords. And here there will be topic covered, okay? Then there will be a quiz. So in the morning itself, I prepared 15 best questions from this chapter attached as quiz or assignment in this particular, okay, what? Link. Where is the link? In the description box. How to get these resources? By clicking that link. When you are going to do that? Right now, okay? I believe my students are going to do that. Not done, beta. We have one last section that we have to discuss. Are those NCERT questions attached in your book? Are those what? NCERT questions that are attached in your book. Let's see all of them one by one. Ready? Okay. Arey bhai. So, question and activities. Question number 1. Do you think life become easier or more challenging after humans started farming? Give 2 reasons of your answers. By very, very clear. After humans started farming, the life became difficult. Obviously, the life was easy. See, I can't call it as easy. They had their own challenges of finding the food, surviving in that scorching heat, sometimes heavy rainfall and all of them. But we made our life difficult after invention one by one, and the earliest of them was farming. ठीक है? So yes, you can give your answers, your reasons very nicely. ठीक है? The environment offers human societies both opportunities as well as challenges. Explain with reference to early farming communities and river valley civilization. Yes. So as the environment changed, we started a civilization, but after that challenges started. There were, like when I talk about Egyptian civilization, we found that there were social differences. So yes, that is also one of the challenge in the society. Those social difference which later proved to be very bad for the society. Okay? So question number 3, why do historians divide early human history into different stages? This is very, very, very important, right? Why do historians divide early human history into different ages such as Stone Age, Bronze Age, Iron Age? What does this classification tells us, beta? So historians divided these ages on the basis of use of the tools. When human used only stone tools, they were referred as what? Stone Age, where the mind of the humans were not that developed. Later they knew about metallurgy and the first age, Bronze Age. So it depends upon their lifestyle and the use of the metal or the stone. ठीक है? Iron Age, where the gathering becomes more big, they converted into small kingdoms or state. So what does this classification tells us? This classification tells us about the humans' history, their lifestyle, their social life, their cultural life, as well as their basic life. Getting my point? And then give brief about all of them. That Stone Age, they were majorly hunter and gatherers. In the Bronze Age, they started getting settled. In the Iron Age, they were extensively depending upon agriculture, as iron as a strong metal facilitated the farming. Getting? Okay. Next, imagine you are a Neolithic farmer. Imagine, we can imagine anything like you guys imagine in maths. They describe one day of your life. What challenges would you face that a hunter-gatherer would not? So please talk about this, that you are a Neolithic farmer and the challenges. Okay, chalo. Next question in the NCERT. Imagine that the Harappan script get deciphered tomorrow. Wow, it would be great. So what new types of information do you think historians might learn? I personally, what I believe, I will tell you that. I personally believe that when we get the Harappan civilization decipher, we will actually get a knowledge about some of the administrative head or unit. See, it is actually very great that we do not have any king or the priest, and the whole civilization worked in a standardized way. But I believe that like Egyptian had, like Mesopotamian had, there might be someone, right? If it is not, then that's great. We can get more information about the trade practices actually, right? About the nature and the belief of the people once the Harappan civilization script is being deciphered. Okay. Question number 6. Prepare a table with 3 columns, Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic, and fill this distinct feature tool settlements. Beta, very, very, very important. While I was teaching you, I made that particular flow chart in the starting. I will show you that. Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. Please prepare a table, and that table should be based upon these things. What? The first thing is the timeline. Okay? The first point should be timeline for each of the period. The second thing that you will be doing is the tools. In the Paleolithic age, like hand axes, choppers, cleavers first. Then in the Mesolithic, microliths. Then the new tools in the Neolithic age. Okay? Then we will talk about majorly their occupation, that in the Paleolithic they were hunter and gatherers. Mesolithic, domestication of animals, right, added with hunters and gatherers. And the Neolithic, you also talk about what? You also talk about beta their what? Farming, sorry, okay. Then tell how they were. So the nature of the society, they were wanderers. right? Gatherers moving from one place to another, nomadics. However, till Neolithic period, they started settling down, right? You can tell about pottery that no pottery was found in Paleolithic and Mesolithic age. However, pottery has been found in Neolithic age. You can talk about burial practices. See how the points are coming one after the another, right? So yes, this is going to be a 5-marker question in your exam for sure, beta. For sure, this is going to be a 5-marker question in your exam. ठीक है. Question number 7. Bronze Age civilization developed independently but shared common feature. Examine the statement with reference to civilization given in the chapter. So we got to know about 4 civilizations around the world. What is common in them? That all of them are bronze civilization. They are well versed in a process known as metallurgy. There is something common in them. Yes. What is that? That here this is a settled life, right? The cities are planned. The houses are made of baked bricks. They were made up of baked bricks, right? There was some level of administration which made the system as standardized. Like there was a priest in Mesopotamia. There was a ruler in Egyptian. We don't know who was that in Harappa. But yes, the same ruler type of dynasty type of system we have found in the Chinese civilization also. Right? Then we will talk about the objects that we have found. So these are the commonalities in the 7th question. Very important. 8. Although rivers provided many benefits, they are also created challenges for early society. Describe both advantages and disadvantages. Yes. So we also discussed about the floods, right? Dams, canals were made, but yes, we talk about the floods in between. Like when we see the movie or when we found the reason for the disappearance of Indus Valley civilization in India, one of the main reason is said to be flood. However, there are different reasons, but yes. So yes, flood became a challenge as you settle near the river. 9th question. With the help of your teacher, find out more code of Hammurabi. Why was it important? Okay, so this is code of law. Discuss about it. Okay, think about it. 10th question. If you had to choose one major innovation from early civilization that changed the world permanently, what would it be? So probably I will answer farming for this, and I want your genuine answer, by the way. Okay? Compare the social hierarchy and daily life of people in Egyptian civilization. Very good question. So compare the social hierarchy in Egyptian civilization in the pyramids from the king towards king and the priest, the ministers and the priest. Then we got to know that there were artisans, farmers living, and at the end there were slaves. Right? So yes, with those of the Mesopotamian, not Chinese civilization, but this can also come as a 5-marker difference based question. 5-marker difference based question. I am thinking to make a separate video on this topic. Okay? So we'll be making it super soon. There are certain map activities associated with this. Please start doing map work. A video for map work is already uploaded on the channel. This is the entire NCERT we discussed today. One part what I am going to discuss from starting are those areas from where questions can be asked to you. Okay, from the starting one. So we started the chapter Human Evolution and Beginning of Civilization, beta. This is how we read. This is what we read. And the first part is that. What you have to notice from this part can come as this pink one I am using for questions. Okay, this can come as a question is basically the cuneiform script written by Sumerians. Okay, the Harappan script popularly known as what beta? It is known as Sindhu Lipi. I only forget. Sindhu Lipi. Okay. Then here we can see about Brahmi script Lipi, which was popularized in the Mauryan dynasty by a ruler known as Ashoka. Very, very important question mark here. See, write the difference between the invention of what? writing and before the writing and the time after the writing. I explained you that this can come as a 3-marker question. Then we have a question, why should we study early human history? Very important question. Why should we study early human history? Okay? In very short answers, pointers can come as, what is Homo erectus? Explain Homo habilis. Sorry, hominin. Okay? Then a question can come, who were our human ancestors? This is basically a 5-marker question where you have to explain everything about the evolution of humans. One more question can come from this part, that how do we know about our ancestors? How do we know about what, beta? How do we know about our ancestors? This can be a question in your exam. Okay? We have lot more to do. So yes, for a 2-marker question or for a 1-marker very short question, what is fossil? What is what, beta? Fossil. Okay? Then again draw a chart, right? Draw a chart and differentiate different periods of history, that is Paleolithic, okay? Then Mesolithic, Neolithic. Okay? The question can also come in a manner that they can add Chalcolithic as well as Iron Age in that. Fine. So be prepared with that chart like this. And also define the characteristics of this periods like this. Okay. Everything is done by, you just need to just go through the PDF very nicely, and how you can get the PDF I already explained you that. So 2 important questions we just discussed. Okay? Explain in brief the 3 different or broad divisions of Stone Age. Yes, this can be a question, beta. Discuss about them very nicely. Here it is. Yes, a question can come, write a short note on. Write a short note on what? Write a short note on Neolithic revolution, right? Write a short note on Neolithic revolution. Very important. Start making notes on it and start writing questions daily. Okay, then we will talk about one of the important site, that is Mehergarh. I already told you a short note can come on this particular site, or the question that explain in brief the first location or the first Neolithic site of in India. This can be a question. Yes, then explain the features of, right? Explain the features of which civilization, beta? Sindhu Saraswati civilization. See, the questions can vary. They can be jalebi questions. They will not be direct questions. Plus, yes, somewhere the questions will be like this only. So, explain the features of Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Okay, or tell the important locations of what, beta? Sindhu Saraswati civilization. We marked it already. Next is what? Yes, a small definition of civilization has been done. This contains the information. This is the features. Your answer is well prepared by me, right? Then we studied about, okay, Bronze Age outside India. Okay, one important question, compare all the Bronze Age civilization. For that you will be preparing a chart. You will be preparing a chart and write the differences as well as similarities in all the civilization. Beta, do like think this, that you have to remember and study this timeline also. They are going to be very, very important and helpful to you to secure full marks. Whenever they talk about certain important points like what was ziggurat, they can ask the questions directly to you. They can ask the question, what is ziggurat, directly to you. Right? They can ask you to write about Sumerians. They can ask you to write differently about the beginning of writing. Cuneiform script, very short question. What do you mean by cuneiform script and how it is different? Okay, getting my point? Okay, great. So this is cuneiform script. Akkadians, yes, there are a lot of questions regarding Akkadians also. Remember these 3 terminologies, that is Dilmun, Magan as well as Meluha. ठीक है, Dilmun, Magan as well as Meluha. Question, which is the world's first dynastic empire, right? Which is it? That is Akkadians. Okay, great. फिर Assyrians and Babylonians. In Babylonians, you need to understand about Hammurabi. ठीक है, Hammurabi. Remember this about Hammurabi. Okay. Very good. With the ascendants of Hammurabi. Then we know the information. How does Egyptian script decipher? The question can come straight forward. How does the Egyptian script decipher? How does it decipher, beta? With the help of an engineer who found a stone. The stone was named as Rosetta stone. Who actually read it was Jean-Francois Champollion. Tell about the Egyptian calendar. Okay, so it is exactly same of the present time. You can tell that the inundation period when the region was affected with flood was known as autumn. And then the next seasons are named after the growing seasons and the names of different crops. Like perit growing is referred as winter season. ठीक है, Shamo growing is referred as summer season. Right? There were 365 days in an year, 12 months divided into 13 days, and extra of 5 days were there. Okay? Like we have right now. Okay? Then we have different civilization. We learned a lot about mummification. What is mummification? And then about the pyramids. Yes. What were pharaohs? Pharaohs were the king. Okay? Then about the different structure of the living of the society of Egyptians. The last but not the least, that is Chinese civilization, which contains lot of information about their writing, about their dynasties, and the development of Great Wall of China. Okay, and a detailed version. So question can come about, write a short note on Silk Route. Why was Great Wall of China developed? Great Wall of China constructed. ठीक है. Then they can talk about their script also, that is logographic script, right? Very very important beta. This is very very important. ठीक है. And this is how we completed the entire chapter, and I believe that this was helpful for you. Right? One chapter from NCERT line by line is already done, that is shaping of the earth crust. Second is done, evolution of human and the beginning of civilization. In next few days you are going to get all the important chapters from my side, so that they are going to be very very helpful in your half yearly examination. I already told you from where to get the session PDF, from where to get the assignments, and from where to enjoy all the benefits from our side is from that link given in the description, which will direct you to the page of Vedantu AIO page, that is popularly known as all-in-one page, where you get everything. Even you will get the recorded videos, the videos you're watching here right now, without any disturbance, without any ads, or without anything. Get it? Fine. So this is all about the complete chapter. Acha, in comment session, I want your advice that I should start with the first chapter of civics next, or the first chapter of economics. So the civics chapter is democracy. I know you are struggling with elections a lot, by the way. And then the building blocks of economics. They also will be the in-depth chapters at these were. I believe you enjoyed it. Okay, I am hoping for your good comments that yes ma'am, it helped a lot. Beta, and if in case you need any help from your SST teacher for your SST, we will do that. Okay, so okay, enjoy your days. We completed one chapter. Please do the assignment and the questions that are listed in this video. Please solve them, write them, practice them, so that we can get 95 plus in your half yearly examination. By the way, target 100. What is this 95 plus? Okay, wish you all the best. I hope for your good health. Do your hard work. Meet you soon in the next video. Up till then, take care. Bye bye.